I think it'll ultimately be up to authorities whether or not, anyone should be charged in this incident.
I think it's a shame that we've come to a place where you have people who've been incentivized to interfere in a law enforcement operation. The laws of the land of the United States are decided upon by the U.S. Congress, and instead of taking it up with Congress to change those laws, there are a lot of people in leadership positions, whether in the government or whether on television, journalists, etc., who would rather Americans get out and unfortunately involve themselves in something that can become dangerous for all parties. And so I think it's really sad that we have found ourselves in an incident, but unfortunately not surprising, because you almost feel like there's been a buildup to something like this. People saying, get out there, go accost these federal law enforcement officers who are trying to do the job that the laws dictate they do. And so, we'll ultimately see what happens.
So your view is people should try to change the laws, go back to law enforcement and the laws and how they're actually dealt with rather than the court of public opinion?
Well, I think, of course, if the law of the land of the United States of America is that if you are a person who has come to our country illegally, you should not be there, and you've broken our law, and you should therefore be deported. If you're a person who has come illegally and committed a crime, we want you out even quicker. And so if the people who are upset about those laws being applied have a problem with it, then the individuals who make those laws are the United States Congress. The congressmen and women and the United States senators are who vote on our laws. And if they want to call their representatives and say, we should change these laws, we should have a vote on it at the U.S. Congress, then that is their right as an American citizen to do. But it would be they'd be much better served, I think, to do that than to try and impede a law enforcement operation.
So, Laura, you have incredible access to the White House, to President Donald Trump. Is there a rule book of what you can share, what you can't share? How do you balance your very public and yet private life, too?
There's no rule book. It's been a wild ride. Had you told me when I first met my father-in-law, I met him at the U.S. Open tennis tournament in Queens, New York. I don't even want to tell you guys because I know I don't look a day over like 15, but it was almost 18 years ago that we met. And if you would have told me that I would be ultimately part of the first family, that he'd be president of the United States, that all of these things would happen, I would have said, you're crazy, but here we are. So there's no rule book, but I think you have to use common sense. And, I think in this day and age, you do see a lot of sharing already from the White House, from the president. He certainly likes to post on Truth Social and X his thoughts on things. Let me tell you, not that anybody in here needs to hear it, he doesn't have anybody writing his posts for him. Those are written directly by President Donald Trump himself. And so, I think as my role at Fox News goes, I try to showcase a side of things that I don't think most people will ever get to see, meaning we get to see a lot of these individuals who are part of the administration on television in a 3 or 5 minute interview about a specific topic. But who are they really, and what goes on behind the scenes, and what happens at their agencies? I try to bring that perspective to people because I am in a very unique position, and I never let myself forget it for one single day. I feel so blessed to have the opportunity to do the things that I do and to have the access that I have. And I know it won't be forever. Despite what some will say with the Trump 2028 hats, it will not be forever that Donald Trump is president of the United States. And so I'm just doing the best I can. I want to be a good person and a good steward of the responsibility that I feel like has been bestowed upon me.
I'm going to have to follow up on 2028.
Oh!
Laura. I didn't raise it. You raised it. 2028, are we going to see a run that you might have to be involved in on President Trump?
I don't think for President Trump, unless there is some new law that the Congress, as we just discussed, votes upon and says that a president can serve 3 terms in office. I think that there will be plenty over the next 3 years that this president accomplishes that he will have no problem saying, as much as he likes to joke about it, 2028, that'll be it for him.
So my next question for you is, you have a following, a very strong following. How do you build your trust with audiences? What makes you able to connect with people and have that connection with audiences?
I think authenticity goes a long way. We do live in an era, as we just talked about with AI, with, you go on social media and you can see the very clearly edited photos of people. We live in a world right now where I think people are craving authenticity and what's real. And like him or not, that's one of the things that makes a lot of people gravitate towards Donald Trump, is he is authentic to the core. Who he is in front of the camera is who he is behind the camera. There's no two ways about it. But I think that that's something people seek out. And when they find that someone is being authentic and real with them, then I think they want more of that. I think we crave it. And I think they're more apt to, share what you have and what you talk about. And, for me, like I said, you asked me kind of who I am in the beginning of this. And my number one job is always going to be mom. My number one role will always be mom. So I share my kids, my family. Sometimes it's not pretty. Sometimes it's crazy stuff. Sometimes it's my dogs jumping on counters and eating an entire tray of brownies. But that's real life. And I think people can relate to that. And I think oftentimes there's this portrayal online of an unrealistic view of people and who they are. And, so I just try to be real. There's only one of me, so that's all I can offer.
President Trump, you said what we see is what the reality is. Is there something about him that we don't know that you would share as a member of the family?
I wish more people knew him like I knew him. First of all, I'll say this. Donald Trump is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. You can see that sometimes, right? I mean, I know people get a sense of that. I have never met a person who can tell a story like my father-in-law. You are never bored at any dinner. He's got stories for days. He's lived through some incredible things. But he really cares, and I think the idea that he has done anything that he has done in his role as president to serve himself is totally outrageous. This is a man who's been put through hell and back. This is a man who was impeached twice at the end of his first term in office. He had his home raided in an unprecedented way. He had multiple indictments that I think most people, if they're being honest, understand were complete garbage and would have never been brought against anybody else. The legal gymnastics that were required to bring those forward are amazing. And he is the only president to come out of the White House with less money than he went into the White House with. He has lost zeros off the back of his net worth to be the president of the United States, but it's because I think he knew he could do the job necessary, not just for the United States, but really for the entire world. And you look at the conflicts he's been able to solve, 8 of them, since he took office less than a year ago. He literally is bringing peace around the world. I think he should be commended for what he's been able to do in this role, and I wish more people took a step back, took his name out of it, looked at exactly what he's been able to do, and gave him the credit that he deserves. But he's a great man who loves his family, loves his grandkids, and he spoils them with candy. Every chance he gets with my kids, they love visiting Grandpa because he's got the big candy bowl, and he's always like, "Go ahead, kids. It doesn't matter if Mom says anything. Go ahead. You can get the candy." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." And then they hand them back to the parents, all hyped up on sugar. You know how it goes.
I love that. The grandfather version.
Still a grandpa at the end of the day. Yeah.
I don't want to turn this into a political conversation because I'd love to discuss some of the issues around conflicts and peace and so forth, but I think we have to stick to the mandate, which is media and influence, because I think, the idea you mentioned, there's a lot of hurtful things that get said about you. You expose yourself, and that's part of being in the public eye, right? How do you protect yourself from that? But also, when you see people question very much the motivations of President Trump, of your family, again, when you think about your children, how do you deal with that?
It's very hard, and I don't know that anything prepares you for it. I will say that right after my father-in-law first announced his run for president, it was pretty immediate that things went from us being a name with which people would want to associate themselves to kind of being persona non grata very quickly. We were all attacked, no one more so than, of course, my father-in-law. But the first time people directly attack you as a person, it's very challenging. It's very hurtful, and it's you almost have this knee-jerk reaction to kind of like isolate yourself and say like, oh, well then I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to post again. And what you have to realize, and I think what over time you realize, and certainly the 4 years in between my father-in-law leaving office and coming back into office, they were challenging. I would say January of 2021 was probably the most challenging month of any of our lives in the Trump family. It was terrible. But you build up a bit of a callus to things, and you realize that the people whose opinions matter most are the people who actually know you, and everything else is just noise. And none of the people who are saying nasty things about you have the guts to come up and say that to your face. Quite frankly, if they're not talking about you, you're probably doing something wrong. So I welcome the haters. It kind of fuels me a little bit because I know if they're talking about me, I must be doing something right. And so you just gotta go with that motto.
Where do you get your information from? How are you informed? What are your news sources? What are your sources to make an informed view as you, present and bring out opinions to the world?
I think I'm probably like a lot of people, and that I get information from a lot of different places. I have multiple apps on my phone of all different news outlets, and I
the alerts. And what's interesting for me to do is I'll get the alert about one topic from like 3 different outlets. I'm like, let me just see how this outlet is reporting it, and I'll read that. And then how this one is reporting it, and I'll read that. And you know how they're probably going to lean. But I think social media is a great tool for that. And, for all the
kind of hate that can get thrown in the way of social media and how damaging it can be in our world, I do think that there are really great people, podcasters, independent journalists out there who do great work. I try to follow those people as well. So whatever topic it is, not only am I getting sort of the legacy media viewpoint, but I'm getting the independent journalist viewpoint on things. And you look at so many independent journalists who have broken great news stories who we otherwise would probably not have a lot of information on. They've become a very important member of the White House press corps. There are now seats in the front row of the White House press corps for independent journalists, because I think that's the future. I think people have, you look at especially in the U.S., the trustworthiness, as according to Americans, of our legacy media outlets is very low. But those independent journalists play a big role. So I try to gather, whether it's television, whether it's online, a variety of different, viewpoints, and from a variety of different places.
Well, I think there's that tension between legacy media and media that does, verification, has to adhere to publication laws. And unfortunately, yes, some media has definitely let down audiences. Hopefully not the national. But then also there's the question, well, actually, some independent journalists are not out there doing news gathering. They're not verifying. It's a single source that they're working on. And so there's that concern that as we tip more to those who can be antagonizing, who can grab headlines, you actually not necessarily are serving people being better informed. So how do you deal with that? Because it has been a contentious issue. I mean, in the U.S. it's important, but it's a global issue too.
Well, and I think a lot of times, there's a filtration process. I think people are very smart, and they know once you've been burned by somebody and you say, well, that person actually didn't give the accurate information, I think you're hard-pressed to go back and trust that person again and trust that source again. And so I think there's a process that does that, but certainly it's why it's important not to limit yourself, not to say like, oh, I'm only getting my news from this person, I'm only getting my information from this source. You have to do right by yourself and give yourself a broad view of everything and a broad scope of everything. And so hopefully those people naturally filter themselves out to an extent.
Do you support the use of generative AI in producing news and in informing people?
I think so. I feel like we're at the very tip of that iceberg, and I think that time will tell whether or not that's something that the general public gets behind. But, I often think about how far we've come in the grand scheme of things in our culture in the world. We are so advanced as a society, and it's amazing in so many ways. But what happens when those phones go down? Does anybody in here know how to read a map? Honestly, I think about these things sometimes. Can anybody even spell anymore? Can anyone do basic math anymore? So, there's so many pros of all the future technology. I mean, gosh, you look at AI and what it's hopefully going to be able to do for us with like a space race or for medicine, et cetera. But there is a very scary component. It's a bit of a slippery slope. So I think my answer is yes, I'm in favor.
Good answer. And of course, we're here in Dubai, we're here in the UAE. I want to shift gears a bit and talk about the Middle East. So tell us what your views are being here in Dubai. What is your favorite part about being in Dubai, and also what are things that you'd like to discover more here?
Dubai is an amazing place. I feel like this is sort of the bridge to bring Westerners, I think, to the Middle East. Dubai has done an amazing job of combining culture and elegance and beauty and safety and all of the things that I think make a great place to live and great place to visit right here in Dubai. It seems like it's kind of the hub of the world in so many respects. I was telling you backstage, I meet people all the time and I say, well, where are you based? And they're all like, Dubai, which is fantastic. But it has made this part of the world, I think the Middle East, for especially Americans and sort of a Western culture, you know, much more inviting and much more open to our entire country. And I think it's good. I think we should have more people traveling here. I think more people will be traveling here. I think you see so much investment. Every time I come back, there's new buildings, there's everything is new and moving and building at such a pace here. And it's an honor. It's an honor to be here. And certainly I think that this here in Dubai is what we're going to see in the future spread out around the rest of the Middle East. I think you guys are kind of nailing it here right now.
And that's one of the great things about Dubai, is that it became such a role model. The UAE became a role model. I have a bit of bias based in Abu Dhabi. We love Dubai, but Abu Dhabi is amazing too. And Sharjah, and it's the 7 Emirates of the UAE. And I think the fact that you have a federal system here often is lost on people, but we have a federal system that works also in the US, where you can have that distinction between Emirates, but then also come together as a nation and offer great things to the world. So my very closing question to you, Lauren, thank you for your generosity in sharing your thoughts. My last question to you is, when you look back over your career and much more to come, what do you think stands out as what you're proudest of?
Oh, wow. To me, so far, I've been proudest to stand on the side of what I believe and not back down a single second. You know, it's very easy to kind of cave to the pressure of society, of legacy media, even on social media, when it feels like the world feels very much against you in certain respects, but you know deep down what it is you're working towards is the right thing. I think standing your ground is very powerful and very necessary, and I hope more people are able to do it, because I think we live in a time where it's easy to say, oh, well, this person thinks this is bad, so I'll go this way. Stand your ground, stand firm in what you believe in, and I think for me, for our entire family, that has been foundational to who we are, and I'm incredibly proud of it. I'm incredibly proud to have the last name Trump, and I'm incredibly proud, again, to be able to raise 2 kids who hopefully one day look back not just at their grandfather, but at their mom, at their dad, and say they did amazing things, and we're so proud as well to have the last name. So hopefully much more to come, but thus far, that's what I'm proudest of.
That's great. Thank you so much, Laura Trump. Please thank
you guys. Thank you very much. Great to be with you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Off to you.
Thank you so much, Mina and Laura, for that awesome chat. I feel like we all picked up on something and we all learned something.
Absolutely. It was so beautiful to think about, too, the legacy that you're leaving, not only with your content, but also the legacy that you're leaving with your life.
Exactly. I think one of the interesting points she mentioned is when media kind of starts talking about you, whether it's going to be negative or positive, how do you actually deal with that? And how do you not let it affect you, where you'd be like, oh, you know what, I won't do this again because last time I did it, I got really bad rep for it. So how can I move forward? And I think that's something we can all pick up from and learn.
Correct. And I think that comes too from having confidence internally in morals, values, where you stand, whatever that looks like. that you're confident in that regardless of what other people say or think or consider about you, that it doesn't change your own viewpoint of yourself because you know who you are.
Exactly. That's the most important thing. And it comes to play with all social media platforms, right? And of course, we'll be having our next session related to X. I want to talk about that a little more with you. So from my experience with X, I feel like it's a platform where you should not miss. You know, we have a lot of people on Instagram, TikTok, but X is also a place where you can get a different audience, a different demographic of audience for you to build your brand, right?
Yeah. Well, even this summit is currently live streaming on X right now. I was sending
have an
it
X
to
cafe.
Yeah, I know. I was sending it over to friends and families. I was like, "Hey, Mom, watch me on TV."
Exactly. No, it's important to actually make sure that you're always on every platform. And
I
let's
agree.
just talk to the people now, guys. We're just going to kindly ask you to all get seated as we start our next session. If we can all cooperate, we'd really appreciate it. Make your way in or out or be seated.
Yes,
So
we
much.
have a really great session coming up here soon, but we do need the aisles cleared in order to get our next speaker up here. So if
Let's
you are
keep
up,
moving.
if you
Let's
are up and moving around, please find your seats. Honestly, this side's looking really good.
Yeah,
you guys are doing really good.
Side. Yeah,
Okay,
that's the good
I like
side.
this.
What's going on here? All right, let's keep it moving, guys. Let's keep it moving. Keep it moving. I appreciate you. I know you want to get it going, right? You want the session to start as much as I do, right?
Yes,
Right?
yes.
All right, let's go, people.
Amazing. Well, I think we can kick it off then and introduce
Right,
our
let's
next
get right
speaker.
into it. Let's go. All right. So speaking on content, be honest. Whoever posted something, you felt that it was good. You're like, oh, this is the content. I'm so happy about it. Boom, 6 views.
And you're like, hello? I thought this was gonna eat.
You're like, I thought that was my moment, but not
Yeah,
really.
and it wasn't. So in this session today, you are going to learn what the most viral posts on X have in common and the repeatable formula that you can steal today.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for the managing director at X, Antoine Caironi. Make some noise!
Wow. Thanks everyone. First I need to tell you something. I never had so much security to reach the stage. So that's pretty cool. And also, seriously, how am I supposed to top the previous session? Great discussion, so good luck to me. Alright, let's try. First of all, salam alaikum. كيف حالكم؟ أنا سعيد لوجودي هنا اليوم. Took me some practice. أنا اسمي Antoine Caironi, and for those of you who don't speak Arabic, like me, I'm the managing director of X in MENA, and I'm extremely excited to be here with you today for 1 Billion Follower Summit. I was here already 1 year ago, and the content landed pretty well, even though some of you apparently were not that impressed with the French accent in particular. Well, sorry Alex, but the French accent is still there. Last year I was sharing with you some of the biggest trends we were foreseeing for the year 2025 on X, and guess what? Most of them revealed to be true. But today it's different. Today, it's not about going viral. It's about understanding what consistently works on X across cultures, countries, and categories. It's about understanding what content is truly good on X. So I'll share with you some thoughts on what are the different patterns behind the biggest hits on the platform. Let's start where everything starts, on the timeline. As you can see on the screen here, we have 3 very different examples. The first one from Elon, with a post traveling through space. The second one from a normal user being late to the office and rushing. I think we can all relate to that, at least I can. And the third one from a brand with one single word. They are all very different. Different authors, different style, different formats. Yet, look at what happens. You react. You stop. The reason is Every good post on X starts the exact same way, by earning one thing: your attention, or what we call the hook. Those instant grabs that are stopping the scroll. When we look at the timeline, I think we've all been through that at least a few times a day over the past few months. You open X just for 1 minute, and suddenly you disappear in a parallel dimension, and it's been 15 minutes, and you don't know what has been happening.
And look, it's no accident. It's design and content that drives this human behavior. So when something that powerful happens, it's worth asking why. What stops the scroll? What makes you pause? That you want to reply, that you want to laugh, that potentially you want to screenshot it and share it with a friend. Well, actually, the best posts are not necessarily the ones that make you think, but they make you feel. Look, don't take it from me, it's literally science, and it's pretty fascinating when you look into the science. In your brain, there is something called the amygdala. Think of it as an emotional alarm system. It scans every single post in less than 100 milliseconds. And when the emotions are detected, the alarm is set off. And your brain decides that you need to stop. So in a way, the best posts are not asking for your attention. They just take it. Now let's go back to the timeline and look at some posts that you truly cannot miss. The first one from SpaceX with a launch of the Falcon 9, or the second one with New Year's Eve celebration in Dubai. I mean, who never dreamt about being an astronaut, right? Who never enjoyed a gigantic firework on the highest tower in the world? Impossible to stop, impossible not to be curious and to feel emotion instantly. All the good posts on X are asking one thing. They're asking a question with no clear answer. In the end, curiosity is really at the root of it all. Take the post on the left, for instance, a post from PSG. PSG is the best team in the world, best football team in the world. I think we all agree on that here. Not saying that because I'm French, guys. I mean, they literally won everything last year. So when you see this post, whether you're a PSG fan or a football fan, and you see the picture with famous players and the text captions this, impossible not to be curious and want to know more. Or take the second example from Mr. Beast, asking quite a question. I mean, what is this question even? You want to know the answer, you need to know the answer. Asking the question about the battle between 100 men and a gorilla. Tricky question, right? And today I'd like to settle once for all this question. If a fight between a gorilla and 100 men was to happen, who would bet on the gorilla in this room? Let's do a show of hands. Gorilla? Who would bet on the man? Okay, so the majority is betting on the man. Let's bring on the gorilla. No gorilla. I'm going to tell you something. This debate has been one of the famous debates we have had in the ex-MENA office, and as of today, it's still not settled. So the hook gets you the stop, gets you this first moment of pause. But you know what? It's not enough. It's not enough. It's actually just the beginning. Now the key is to turn this attention into momentum, this attention into connection, or what we call the build. The difference between a pose that you like and a pose that will leave a mark. So why do you stay? You stay on a post when you feel seen. You stay on a post when you care about the outcome. You stay on a post when you experience FOMO. In a way, you stay on a post when you have a reason to invest emotionally. In some cases, it can even last not a few minutes or months. It can last many years. Take this case from Ariana Grande. 14 years ago, she manifested using X, her appetite, for the dream role that she had, for Glinda in Wicked. Look at what happened 14 years after. She finally got her dream role and ended playing Glinda in Wicked, which was, by the way, the second most talked about movie on the platform last year. This is an example of a declaration of love between Ariana Grande and her fans, and between the fans to Ariana Grande, with all the conversations that have been popping up on the platform. over the past 14 years. This is where X is no longer a timeline. This is where X becomes a place where people participate. This is when X is becoming a true global town square. We have plenty of examples like this one. Some people are sharing examples from airlines, from their meals, and people are jumping in, commenting on the different meals they're having, and it's triggering immense conversation. Some of them are sharing other examples from other airlines, and we can see like a battle of the meal directly on the platform. It's also opening up opportunities for brands to jump in and potentially leverage this as a communication platform for bigger purpose, which once again highlights the true power of the platform. So we've covered the hook, we have covered the build, great. But the question for you as content creators is, all those posts are different, but what are the ingredients that you can use to cook up some bangers? This is what we're going to look at next. And I'd like to tell you a bit about a tie. Now don't worry, I'm not going to teach you how to tie a tie. That's not the point, it would be boring and I'm not capable of it. Anyway, so don't worry. By tie, I'm referring to the three fundamental elements that you as content creators, you can use to build up something unique with your audience. Timing, interaction, and emotion. Starting with timing. Timing is everything, right? It's not about what you say, but rather when you say it. Imagine if you were to create museums before dinosaurs were invented. Nonsense. Missed opportunity. X particularly comes to life when things feel unresolved, when something has just happened, or when events are unfolding live. Think about it. When a game is happening, when a surprise news movements are happening, where do you go? You go on X to check what's happening. And this is the opportunity for you as content creator to connect, especially on the moment, with a very leaned-in audience, to be part of the moment, to be part of the story, and potentially to be the story. Like in this case, with the Paris Olympics and Antoine Griezmann. For those of you who don't know, Antoine Griezmann was attending the Olympics 2 years ago in Paris, and was attending all the sessions from the French athletes. And every time a French athlete was getting a medal, usually we don't get many medals, but still. Every time a French athlete was getting a medal, he was posting a funny picture with his hat, with the glasses, sometimes with a dance, and he was using the hashtag #AlertMedal. This thing became crazy. The volume of engagement went literally through the roof, to the point that President Macron, when asked about what is the official app to look at the medal, he replied, Antoine Griezmann. That's crazy. To the point that there was an emoji created especially for this hashtag. To the point that Griezmann was elected the #1 fan of the Olympics. We didn't take this story because Antoine Griezmann's first name is amazing. We took it because it highlights one thing, the real-time nature of the platform, which is one of the true superpowers of X. Second, interaction. All the good posts have people behind them, authors and people interacting with them. The best posts are not monologues, they're invitations, they're leaving a gap and inviting the audience to step in. Like in this case, for example, where an Aston Villa fan lost his scarf, his dear scarf that he has been carrying away everywhere with him for the past 50 years. He was so sad. What did he do? He went on X and started to post about it. Created huge volume of engagement. And this is how a guy with barely 1,000 followers is achieving millions of views, thousands of likes. This is where you can see the power of the platform. When you share something authentic, you can be propelled to massive reach level. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, at the end, he got his scarf back. Last but not least, emotions. Emotions are complicated because they are deeply personal. And you don't want people to feel everything. You want them to feel one thing very clearly. Joy, pride, anger, surprise, whatever it is. One single dominant emotion that your brain can instantly understand. And when you manage to do that, this is when people are not consuming content anymore, but they start to carry it. This is when they start replying. This is when they start reposting. You know why they're reposting? Because the message you have been putting in your post, they were not able to articulate it. And it's their way to share it. Like in this case from Serena Williams, where she's posting, she took her first steps. I was training and missed it. I cried. Sadness, pure sadness, the sadness of missing something that is unique and not going to happen. I think we can all relate to that with the busy lives we have. This is why this post engagement went completely through the roof, because it's a feeling that everyone can recognize. Timing, interaction, emotion, we covered that. The truth is something really magic starts to happen when the right emotion is paired with the right interaction at the right time. This is when your content is becoming conversations, and all those conversations together are forging the culture of the world that we are living in. X is not tapping into culture. X is literally creating culture. Let that sink in. I had to use this one. All right, so when we look back at the timeline, and I'm going to end up on those few notes, we look back at the posts we started with. Those 3 posts, I'm sure now they look a bit different to you. I'm sure you can see the hook. I'm sure you can see the build. I'm sure you can start to see the different patterns, timing, emotions, and interaction. Don't take it from me. Take it from the guy building the platform, Nikita Bia. He's building the platform for all the users and for all of you as content creators. And I'd like to finish on this. Winning on X, in the end, it's not about gaming the system. It's about understanding people. So, if you take away one thing from the past 14 minutes, it's this. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be flashy. You don't need to be everywhere to be on X. Actually, you don't need to be anyone but yourself. Show up with something authentic. Show up with something real. A moment, a thought, an invitation. And enjoy the ride on the timeline. Thank you. Merci. Yatika l'afia.
Thank you so much, Antoine. I now need to up my X game, I think.
Right? And now, moving from the X platform, we're going to go to the platform where I spend most of my time, probably is Twitch.
You are a Twitch guy.
Who here watches Twitch live streams? Yeah? So I actually spend a lot of time on Twitch. I met a lot of great people, and that's the important thing to know about Twitch. It's not just about gaming. It's about culture, real connection, built in real time. And honestly, I'm going to stop talking about it because we have the best person here with us today to tell us where live streaming is going next.
Yes, so please make some noise and let's welcome the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy.
Make some noise.
All right. Well, here we are. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. And quick question, just looking around, how many of you are creators in this room? Raise your hand. All right, that's what I figured. I suspect a lot of you are kind of familiar with Twitch, but some of you probably are not deeply familiar with Twitch. So some of what I'm going to try to do today is just give you a sense of what is happening on Twitch, okay? And what is unique and what has been happening in live streaming overall, okay? So live streaming, in many ways, it's bigger than it's ever been. So live streaming started way back in 2007 with Justin TV, okay? And at that time, he called it life casting. And it's been around throughout social media, but really in the last year or so, it's sort of having this resurgence. And I want to talk some about why that is. So, as humans, all of us yearn for connection with other human beings. There's this word community that we use a lot, but I actually think a lot of times when we use the word community, we actually don't know what that means. And that's one thing that I'm going to talk about some in terms of what really gives that sense of belonging and that sense of community. And of course, social networking started as something that really helped connect you with other people and helped you feel connected with more people across the globe. But it's also about the person that you're watching with. And I think this is one of the reasons that live is starting to have a resurgence. Because people are yearning for this connection, and they're thinking, how can I be authentic, and how can I authentically connect with my fans? And one of the things that it does is it turns fans into a community. Okay? And that's really where Twitch, I think, has a unique difference. Because everyone does live streaming these days. I sometimes joke that I'm going to find out that McDonald's is starting a live streaming platform, because it seems like it's everywhere. But even with all these other people coming into live streaming, Twitch has remained the largest place for live streaming. And if you think of who are the live streaming stars, your list is always driven by people that started on Twitch and that are on Twitch. And the reason for that is that Twitch is built to get you to pull up a chair and stay for a while. For our most loyal users, they will sit there and spend 3-4 hours a day, 25 days a month. And that time that they spend builds connections with each other. So when you watch live streaming on other platforms, you're just swiping, and you're programmed to swipe to the next thing. That's what you do when you're watching everything else. And newsflash, sometimes live streaming gets a little boring, okay? Because you're just hanging out and doing all sorts of stuff. And when it gets a little boring, swipe, okay? And if you're watching it on YouTube, you might look down to the bottom right and see some related videos. And I often joke and say there's like some candy down there that says, hey, come check me out. Next thing you know, you click and you're off going somewhere else. On Twitch, all we do is live streaming. And what ends up happening is community forms amongst the people watching. And as I said earlier, people talk about community all the time on social network. However, for me, the foundation of community is co-experiencing something together. When you go back in time, community, of course, is foundational to us as human beings and how we've survived and lived in this world. But all of the real world communities we're a member of, all are around your church, your school, music, these other experiences where you are synchronously interacting with other people. And the foundation of a community is over time, you eventually build this bond, and it's tiny bit by tiny bit by tiny bit. So to really have a sense of belonging, you need to invest the time. It doesn't just come by spending a little bit of time. And that's why on Twitch it's so different, because people are staying there for a long time. And that's the difference between having fans and having a community. Now, Twitch started with gaming. And the interesting thing actually, it started with live casting. It wasn't gaming. And then when they switched to gaming, it sort of took off. And that's because gaming solved some of the problems that live streaming has, that as we've reached more scale, now I don't think those problems exist as much anymore. So first, gaming gave you something that you could do for a longer period of time. Because as I said, to build community, it takes time, okay? We're all listening here. We're not going to form a community here. This won't be a community, okay? First of all, we're going to be here for 20 minutes. Second of all, all these people aren't interacting with each other. Everyone's looking at me. What happens on Twitch when someone's live is chat's talking to each other. And after a while, they get to know each other. And when someone hasn't been there for a while and they show up, they're like, hey, where you been? Now, I'm going to age myself a little here, but I sometimes refer to an old TV show, Cheers, which some people here may know. And there's a guy, Norm, and Cheers was a place where everybody knows your name, okay? And you'd go into the bar and you'd go, hey, Norm. And we all yearn for that in our lives. We all yearn to go into a place where everyone knows your name and you feel connected. And so gaming gave something that you could sit there and do for long periods of time, and that then built community. And it also gave you stimulus, because a game gives you a lot of stimulus, and then you would react to that stimulus. Now, it is interesting, when Twitch started, Twitch was dominated by what I will call our entertaining gamers. If you go back in time, Ninja, Tim the Tap Man, Soda Poppin'. First and foremost, they're gamers, and they're very entertaining. If you look today, Twitch is much more entertainers that game. They don't all game. It's gone much bigger than gaming, but for the big ones, they do game some. But first and foremost, they're entertainers. If you think of someone like Kai Cenat, he's a modern-day Kevin Hart. He's an entertaining person, and he's very authentic when he's out there. And when you think of many of our top streamers, you think of someone like Queso. Again, he games, but really the star of that is him, okay? And that is also one of the key differences when it comes to Twitch. And as you're a creator, since I suspect there are many creators here that maybe have dabbled a little bit in live streaming, in general, live streaming isn't the platform where it's easy to grow your audience. That's because people are spending more time there. However, it's where you build an emotional connection with that audience. So right now, I want everyone here to think for a second about somebody you like to watch on TikTok. And now suppose they stop making content for a week or two. Do you even know it? No, you don't. The emotional connection is with the platform. On Twitch, when people come and watch, they may watch 5 to 10 streamers in a week. When you watch TikTok, you're probably exposed to 2,000. YouTube may be 500. When you watch 5 to 10 people, you build that connection. And now it's hard to build an audience that will spend that time with you. But once you build it, it's yours. Because now that emotional connection is not just swiping to the next creator and the next creator and the next creator. So one way you have to think about, there's one thing about just looking at bigger and bigger numbers, about how many people and how many thumbs up and how many likes and how many everything. But that misses the depth of the impact you're having on people. And for those of you that are creators, many of you, while obviously you love the fact that this is funding your life, but really what motivated you when you started was for people to listen, right? And when you first started, you didn't have a gazillion followers, but you had something to say. And you loved that someone was listening to you. And when you're live, you get that direct feedback from them. You get that applause of the crowd. The emotes go up, the chat goes up, and that visceral feeling of making a difference in the world happens. Rather than just looking at a number and saying, wow, I feel really good. I got so many thumbs up or likes or whatever. And so now Twitch has gone from gaming into all sorts of stuff. Okay? IRL and just chatting, huge part of Twitch now. And for just chatting, that's just a creator spending time with their community. An IRL, that's someone out in the world, doing something in the real world and experiencing the world, and their community is experiencing it with them. So this is Streamer University, which is Kai Cenat's, one of his most recent things that he did. And he gathered a bunch of creators together, and then he had the creators streaming the whole time. And so you had all these smaller communities watching it. The one thing I find interesting about here, oftentimes, and I think we'll see more next year and the next year, when you're at events like this, people streaming it so that everyone can be seeing it from different angles. And Streamer University was designed as a university to train streamers, but really the fun part was putting a lot of creative people together and see what entertaining stuff they did. Okay, in music is being rethought of on Twitch. And it's not about people standing up and playing music. It's about musicians engaging with their audience and community. And they are actively creating music on Twitch, especially with hip hop and rap. So right now, Fred Again, Septa, and Plaqueboy Max are nominated for a Grammy of a song that they wrote while streaming. This is particularly happening with rap and hip hop because it's an improvisational art form. And more you have those creators that are creating content on Twitch Live. So this is in the studio. Plaqueboy Max creates content regularly on Twitch with other creators.
We also see sports being rethought. In the end, sports is all about community. People mistakenly think that sports is about seeing the world's best X play. No, it's all about saying, I'm a fan, you're a fan, it bonds us together. And more creators now are taking that, and the thing on the right here you see GP Explorer, where Squeezy had 90,000 people on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and an F4 race all done by creators. And that is all because of the affinity that those creators built with their community. In Kings League, they're rethinking how soccer is done by having creators own teams, and then having very good soccer players, but not the best soccer players, but you feel part of the action when you're watching. Okay? And the other thing that's been happening a lot is more and more celebrities are saying, I'm going to use Twitch as a secondary way of engaging with my community. So as you sit here as a creator, don't be thinking, oh, but live streaming takes a lot of time. Think of it as, how does this augment everything else that I do as a creator? Okay? Right here you have Studbuds, who did a 72-hour live stream. They're two WNBA basketball players. And they streamed the All-Star game. And you got to see a backstream look at what was happening during the All-Star game. Justin Bieber now is just streaming. He's doing a little bit of music, but mostly he's just exposing who he is. Okay, and engaging with his fans. So I want to talk, I want to end this by talking a little bit about where this is all going, okay, for you as a creator. So first of all, don't think of or. Do I stream or do I do something else? Think of streaming as part of your creative expression. I'll tell you right now, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. Okay? If you're doing it to get somewhere, don't do it. Do it because it's fun. And think of it upstream of other content you create. It's one reason why streaming took off in gaming is because the one thing every gaming creator had in common was to make a 20-minute video of them gaming, they had to game for 4 hours. And now they're like, what? I can have people hang out with me while I game? Then I can create my video and I can make money on the video? Shoot, I'll do that. So don't be thinking of it's something else I have to do. Think of it's something I'm already doing, and I'm letting those people that are fans of me in to be part of the ride. Okay? Now, the other thing I often tell people that are thinking about how do I use Twitch, what should I do, how do I do it, a big part of it is collaboration. Okay? Find other interesting people and do interesting things together.
Another reason that gaming became so popular, gaming is inherently collaborative. Every time you game, you're actually co-creating. You're a bunch of creators here. It's fun to make content with other creators because you feel a connection. And you feel that connection not just with the creators, but with your audience that's watching. Now, the last thing I want to talk about a little bit is what's happening with AI, because of course that's written. If I'm going to get up here, of course I have to talk about AI. I do think one reason there's this interest in live streaming is because when something is just a short video or a picture, more and more you don't know if that's real, right? And more for you as a creator, you think, to what degree am I competing with AI? Okay? When you're live, there is no way, I'm sorry, AI is not close to being able to replicate what you can do live. It's not close. It's a novelty, okay? AI helps you be more creative. It is an extension of you, and it's a tool for you to think of what cool stuff can I do. The biggest challenge when you're live streaming is you need stimulus that you respond to, that you can be entertaining with. One way you get that stimulus is other people. Another way you can get that stimulus is to just use AI as a tool of your creative expression. And you can think of what are the things I want to create and how can I use other people and other tools to help me create it. So to wrap up, personally, I think the reason it is becoming so popular now is because more and more creators are looking for more of an authentic connection with their audience, and your audience is looking for a more authentic connection with you, to know who you are, okay, and to get behind the scenes and to really feel part of your co-creation. So as you think about your future and what you're going to do, think about how you can turn all of your fans into a community where their connection is with you. With that, thank you.
Thank you, Dan Clancy. Wow, it's really cool to see where live streaming is headed next. If you ever wanted to start on Twitch, now is the time.
Yes, and this next fireside is about the mindset that it takes to transition from global success to building something new publicly.
You'll hear from a true icon who's done it as he's moved from the biggest stages in football into broadcasting, entrepreneurship, and the creator world.
Inviting the conversation is someone who lives and breathes helping people start again, the founder of helpbank.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Rio Fernandez and Simon Squibb. Make some noise!
Rio. Simon. It doesn't sound the same. Let's be fair. I'm from a small town in England, and to be sitting on this stage with Rio, talking to you guys, is such an honor. I stood on this stage a year ago and was given $1 million to go and help people dream, and we've done it. I'm going to talk all about that tomorrow.
Can I get 2 million this year?
Did you?
Can I get 2 million this year?
Maybe, if you ask.
Make it happen?
I would say the strongest people ask for help. So you just need to ask. I think Rio and I were talking backstage about life, about things that we're both passionate about careers, about developing careers. So I thought we could kick off a little bit, Rio. You're thinking about your next stages and what you want to achieve. Do you want to share a little bit about what your plans are?
Yeah, well, first of all, if anybody doesn't know, I've moved to Dubai about 4 or 5 months ago. So yeah, I'm local. I brought my kids, well, 3 of my kids are here, and the other 2 are trying to be footballers back in the UK. And I'm loving it. I think a lot of people ask me all the time now, like, what are you loving about living in this part of the world? And I think the main thing, other than the usual safety, etc., and all these other things,
is when I walk into a room, like I walk into a room like this today, and other rooms wherever I am, it's just filled with optimism. And like I've been used to a lot of negativity and a lot of skepticism, a lot of people trying to find a reason as to why your idea might not work, or why it's not going to be successful. Whereas the optimism that I find here, just I bounce out of bed. I'm ready to go every day. Before I'm trudging to the gym in the morning sometimes with my wife. Now I'm running, man. I'm bouncing into the gym, throwing the weights about, throwing my missus about. Like I'm just excited for life, and it's giving me that energy that I needed at this point.
Yeah, well said. So I've been here 4 days. Do I get a round of applause for that? I'll be honest, it's quickly becoming my second home. I brought my son here, my wife here, and I agree. Everywhere I look, I see the word dream. Every place I go to, it's there on the walls in some cases, literally written on the walls. And I see it in people's faces. It inspires me when I see people living their dreams. And someone asked me earlier what my nightmare was. It's when someone who has potential isn't fulfilling it. When people aren't living their dreams. So what keeps you up at night? What's your nightmare?
Other than my kids. You've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. It's crazy in the house at sleep time. But you know what? The thing that I look at now, people say, what are you interested in doing in life now? You had a great career as a footballer and all this stuff. One of probably my biggest fears now is that I retire and people just talk to me about football. Like, when I'm walking down the road, it's great, when people acknowledge your career and speak to you about what you've done and want photographs for that reason. But I think I would look at myself as I'd be disappointed in myself if that after the next 5 or 10 years that people aren't coming up to me and the first thing isn't always football. I want it to be something else where I've made impact, been successful in something else. I need that.
That's growth, right? Because a lot of people, I meet thousands of people who dream of being a footballer and doing what you've done. And I think it's kind of, I actually really admire you speaking about this like this, because a lot of people would ride on what they've done as enough. That is enough, but it's not. And I think that's actually probably what made you a really successful footballer. You've got to keep growing, right? You've got to
never. I was, even when I played football and people were saying that you're the best in your position, you're part of the most successful team at the moment, etc. I was never satisfied. I was always still a bit hungry. There was always a reason for me to get out of bed earlier. There was always a reason for me to be in the gym earlier. There was always a reason for me to be analysing myself, my games. I was on to analysts came into the game at the back end of my career. So clubs were employing analysts to come in and look at the games, look at opponents. I was on the analyst every other day. Get me Luis Suarez's clips. I want to see how many times he goes on his left foot compared to his right. I want to see where Thierry Henry runs most of the time. I want to see where in my team, Wayne Rooney, what's the best positions that he takes up when I've got the ball. Like all these details, the more we had access through technology, the more I was onto the people to make sure I want to see it. I want it in my fingertips. So now, and I've always kind of been that curious, kind of exploratory kind of guy. And it's followed me now into the next phase of my life.
I think this is a lesson, I feel like a lot of you guys know this, but sometimes it's a good reminder. This constant hunger for growth. Hunger to be better versions of ourselves. I would say actually, like, I'm married right because my wife is so much better than me. She's made me better. But that's one of the reasons. She's smarter than me. She's got a higher IQ than me. That's why I love hanging out with her, because basically she makes me smarter. I feel sorry for her. She's not evolving, but I am. and I think there's I've got a clap there. Yeah, thank you. I don't know why. My poor wife. But I noticed that about you when I first met you. I met you a little while ago, and you know what I noticed when I first met you was this image you have of this huge success. How many questions you asked me about business. I could see the hunger to learn something new, and I think that's such an admirable trait. Have you always had that, or was this something instilled in you when you were young? Where's this come from?
Like I said, I think I've always been curious. I'm from a council estate in South London, in Peckham, where the opportunities are very few and far between, and to kind of get to a place where you become successful from that area, it's quite difficult, and there aren't a lot of examples.
So I was always curious as to what was outside of there. So like, for instance, a kid from my background doesn't do ballet. I done ballet. I wanted to see what it was like. That helped me become a footballer, no doubt, in terms of poise, balance, strength, etc. I was doing acting classes as a kid. Like, I should have been Will Smith. Do you know what I mean? He's lucky I didn't go into acting.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, that's the mindset I had as a kid. If I wanted, and my mum always said to me, and I think it's a really important thing she used to say, which I tell my kids now, I'll only be disappointed if you don't try.
Yeah.
If you don't try or allow yourself to be vulnerable or not go into something still feeling not sure, but you still want to try it, go and do it. Because I'll be upset if you're sitting there in a month's time, a year's time going, I wish I should have.
100%. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of books written on this about people in their 90s. The only regret most people have is what they didn't do, not what they did do.
Yeah.
What they did do makes you interesting. Like, I built businesses that have failed. That makes me interesting.
Yeah, you know the mad thing you're saying that as well. It's with football. People sit there and go, Rio, man, you must talk about the Champions League and winning all the Premier Leagues that you won. And I'm going, bro, I don't really think about them things. I think more about finals that we lost. Barcelona.
Right.
Every time I see Messi or Barcelona, I get a headache. I mean, it's like it's the games that we lost, the big moments that we lost is what the ones that really come into my mindset more than the winning.
So going forward now, we were talking behind the scenes. We said we should have recorded what we were talking about in the green room because we had a really interesting chat.
We got a business coming, guys. Just like
we have got a business coming. Yeah, we might collaborate on something, which is pretty exciting. I think. And by the way, I think that's one of the things I love about being in the creator space. I've also retaught myself. I was a marketing guy. I built a big company in Hong Kong. I sold it to PricewaterhouseCoopers. I was considered the best at my game at marketing. And then I had 2 years off. And TikTok and social media came into the world. And all the people my generation ignored it, carried on doing billboards and print ads and direct mail. And they didn't get into social media. And I went on TikTok and my peers were like, what are you doing getting on TikTok? It's for kids. I was judged, they laughed at me. Now they all ring me for advice. You know, and I think that's another part of it as well, is that feeling embarrassed that you don't know something is part of the process to grow into something better.
Yeah.
And so I think that's also what you're talking about. I found that process of learning something, I'm now re-skilled. I think marketing heavily involves social media. But if I'd stayed 8 years ago successful marketing person, I wouldn't know how it all works now.
Yeah, and that's admirable as well. I mean, it's a little bit like my career in terms of not to the scale of selling a business, but I went into media when I finished football, into working as a pundit and on games, etc. But also started my own media company, which again was outside of linear TV. So I was doing linear TV on a Saturday and a Wednesday for Champions League and Premier League, and then creating my own stuff outside of the 90 minutes and live games. And now I do probably 5% of my time now is linear TV stuff, and the rest of it is the media company that I'm building. So
yeah, well, you can direct relationships with your audience. It's so exciting, right? Yeah. You can control the messaging. Who here is a creator? I'd love to, just a show of hands. Okay. And who here makes money out of creators?
Good.
It's good to see, yeah. I think there's something really exciting happening, and I think it's that people moan about some things in the world, like, for example, how expensive it is to live and these things, but I think the great thing is now, young people in particular have a chance to reach an audience direct. When I started a business at 15 years old, I had to knock on doors. I started a gardening company. I had to knock on doors one at a time in the freezing cold. And that has changed. You can make one video, put it up, and sell product on TikTok Shop instantly from your living room. So, I think, yes, thank you, TikTok. I feel like it's a round of applause. I don't work for TikTok, although I might as well do, but I really think it's exciting for anyone. You can start a business today, but the key, I think, is actually owning the media channels. That's what we were talking about backstage, isn't it? Yeah. I think, if you look at Facebook, it became a big business because it was $1 trillion business because it attracted attention. And then they laid apps on top, like Snapchat, that drawed attention. Now, the big new thing hiding in plain sight is creators. Mr. Beast, who I'm doing a collaboration with yesterday, I don't know if you guys saw it, but like Mr. Beast, people want to see these content creators, and that equals attention, which means you can sell product. Now, I think, and this is something I'd love to hear your opinion on, the future that's going to be really exciting is if we build for-profit, for-good businesses. Corporations need to take a responsibility for helping society and help their customers. We talked a little bit behind the scenes about charities and that. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I'm a huge believer. I've got my own foundation. It's been going like for over 10 years now, and we've had probably like 20,000 kids go through it and re-educating and then getting into workplace, etc. So I understand totally that, and I've come across so many different charities that they say charity above the door, but they're really just their employers and paying wages rather than making change for people a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these brands have so much eyeballs, attention that we're talking about, that they can do so much more.
Yes.
And I think utilising creators that we see in the room now to really hit home and hit those messages to people that they want to get to, but also to really have an impact on. And I think really having an idea about, you can market stuff and you can try to amplify your brand, etc. to people, but align that with impact as well, I think is 100%, I'm with you on that and making the way forward. And I want to buy things from companies that do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. Consumers are also so much more aware.
Yeah.
I think people want to be part of the solution. We want to buy products and services that are giving back to the communities they serve. So I think, creator-led businesses are just going to skyrocket in the next 10 years. And you parallel that with purpose-driven businesses that aren't just doing it to make money. Nothing wrong with making money. I think it's very useful to make money, but using that money to make a difference in the world, and we're going to launch a product around that. So I think this is...
What about when we were talking about earlier about it's quite interesting marketing, like you see obviously there's a lot of creators in the room. How many of you creators that when a brand come to you, they tell you how to market?
Yeah. Hands up. Some of them be scared to put their hands up because they might get their contracts cancelled. But
we were talking about it. You get a brand coming to you and goes, we want you to promote our brand, and then we want you to promote it like this. And I'm going, well, do you know my audience? Do you know how do you know how I'm meant to talk to my audience?
Yeah.
And I think it's a great position to be in now, and it's good. I think that ecosystem's got to change to be more creator-led, where they're going to drive the marketing for a brand if they choose to do so.
Yeah. A little plug. My book is the #1 book today in the UK, the most popular book in the UK. I'm really proud. And I think the other thing as well is like connecting with your audiences in as deep a way as you can. I'm dyslexic. I cannot read. So I totally overlooked the power of a book. I didn't know it because it wasn't my format. But I really think everyone has a book in them. Start writing it today. Write 1 page a day. Just tell your story. You don't have to teach anything. Just share your story. You'll be shocked how many people will be inspired by it, even if you're not where you want to be, because it's a struggle that's interesting. So I've got a little surprise, not for you, right? Not for you, but for one of our dreamers, and you know what's coming. Can we play the dream? Play the dream.
I've got a full podcast.
Why are you still able to do this shit?
I need some subscribers. It's gone crazy since I'm at Simon.
279,000 followers in 3 days.
People stopping you on the road. You're the dream guy. We're back with another episode of the On The Bench podcast.
Hundreds of thousands of people following you now. Your podcast blew up. So name the best sponsors.
I like Adidas.
Everyone tag Adidas. We need Adidas and all the help. People are telling me about you now. That's what's happening. Like
Jay from the On The Bench podcast, and today we're at Arsenal.
How many followers do you have now?
479,000 on TikTok.
Guess what, guys? Tell them news.
Adidas have agreed.
Adidas are now going to sponsor your podcast.
I know, it's crazy, man. When I went to the first meeting with them, I was thinking, what am I doing there?
You did it! I'm so proud of you, man. Well done. You were pushing a trolley along, minding your own business, and you've landed Adidas as a sponsor.
Yeah.
It's just persistence, consistency, and passion, which you have in abundance. Work on a pitch deck now. Yeah. Because I am going to get through to Rio Ferdinand. And we got through to Rio Ferdinand. Jordan, come on stage. He doesn't know this is happening. You get to interview Rio. 5 minutes, take the stage, interview.
Thank you, man.
How you doing? You alright? You good?
He made his dream happen, folks. He hustled, he fought. Do your thing, I'm going to watch.
Any Arsenal fans in the building? Any Arsenal fans?
Yeah, that's
Bad start. What a bad start.
Yeah, not good, is it? Not good.
Rio, you was a part of a Man United team that won 6 Premier Leagues and the Champions League. What kind of mindset did you have to achieve that kind of greatness?
Definitely crazy at times. You have to be, and I think you have to be very obsessive.
Yeah.
I think when you speak about any people that are performing at an elite level, whatever industry it is, football is the same. There has to be some sort of an obsession at the top, or of your best performers at least. And I think I was obsessed with every detail. I enjoyed myself at the same time, but I was obsessed with... I had like an internal rivalry with anyone that wanted to win the Premier League. Yeah. So when Arsenal were trying to beat us, your team, we slapped them. When Liverpool wanted it, we slapped them. When Chelsea wanted it, they won it a couple of times, but we came back, rejigged and slapped them. So that's you've got to be quite obsessive and a bit crazy to be able to just shift rivalries like that and be as intense. And that was that's draining as well, by the way. It takes a lot out of you mentally.
Yeah. You grew up in a council estate, like you said. And I grew up like that myself, and it's hard to make it from that environment. How did you make it? Did you have someone behind you that pushed you, or was it just pure resilience from yourself?
I think you need a combination of everything. I never think it's, I've got a really strong mum or dad. Yeah. You've got to have internal belief, a willingness to understand and know that there's going to be knockbacks, there's going to be a door's going to be closed in your face at some point, maybe more than once. But I was always aware that them points were going to come, and I prepared myself for those moments. How would I react? And sometimes I needed somebody to go, Rio, well, what's happened? You've jumped up, you're off the tracks, man. Get back on the track. Yeah. And just having those people, they didn't have to be the closest people to me. I mean, it wasn't always my mum and dad. It was sometimes somebody who worked on the adventure playground where I used to go, who just would see me maybe hanging about a bit too much. Rio, training, what's going on? Like, okay, again, and there's that personal pride, having that personal pride of wanting to achieve, not disappoint yourself or let yourself down. And I would have took it personally if I hadn't have made it. Yeah. That was a big thing internally. People saw me with my bag, going to training, getting a train, getting 2 buses, getting a tube, getting another bus, and then coming back doing the same thing for years. Did I really want to say when they asked me when I go to that family function or that friend's party, well, you still playing football? And I've got to say no. I wouldn't have been able to deal with that, I don't think. So I was obsessed with making it.
You played with the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. How good was Ronaldo? Because we see him on the pitch, but you would have seen him in training. How actually good is he as a player?
Cristiano Ronaldo. How long have we got? I mean, there's no coincidence that he's one of the greatest that's ever played football. And we can debate whether it's Messi or Cristiano or R9 or whoever, yeah? He put himself where he is. You have to have ability, and I think this is what he says. I think he gets offended when people say, I love him because of his work ethic that's got him there. No. To do what he's done, you have to be brilliant as well. You have to be magical, from another planet. But the work ethic as well is why he's playing at 41 years old. And he's still scoring ridiculous amounts of goals. And that comes from a mindset of wanting to do well, preparing to do well, being curious, asking questions, and then creating a team around you to make you kind of robust. And like I say, I've said this before, anyone might have not have heard this, but he's the first active player that I ever saw build a team around himself. So he was my neighbour. I used to take him training sometimes and stuff, and I went in his house one day, and he had when I walked in, there was about 5 or 6 guys in there who I never met, and I was like, who the hell is this, man? Who are these guys? What's going on there? Oh, that's my physio, that's my doctor, that's my chef, that's my nutritionist, that's my masseuse. I said, whoa, man, this costs a lot of money, bro. And he was like, yeah. He said, and then look at him now.
He took his football very serious and he invested in himself. I think in life it's very important to invest in yourself. If you've got a dream, you must put into yourself.
By the way, that's a good caveat. Yeah. That's a good caveat. So, Rio, you're a business person now. You've got a media business. And Jordan has a business, his podcast. He's now going to pitch it to both of us, and we're going to decide whether or not we would back him. Okay. I'm backing you personally already, but stand here, do your pitch, come on, do it. This is his first time he's ever pitched a business.
Pressure.
Bear in mind, he still works as a delivery driver and he wants to quit it and focus full time.
Yeah.
His moment. I promised him a moment with you. This is it, pitch.
I'm nervous now.
All right. Right, okay, let's go. It's not easy. Come on. You can do it.
So I started the On the Bench podcast, not only to give fans a voice, but to give people behind the scenes, like your physios, your nutritionists, photo people, a voice within the football scene. And we're doing a brilliant job at the moment. I've had agents on, scouts, and we're doing really well. We've got over 500,000 followers now on TikTok, 60,000 on Instagram, and 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. What we want an investment for at the moment is to upscale and grow the podcast even more. So we want to get better cameras, better editors, better studio time. We film once a week at the moment. I want to upscale that to twice a week and get merch involved. I want to take the On the Bench podcast to another level. I've got ideas to bring an energy drink into it and stuff like that. I'm very creative. I can't do this while I'm working at the same time. We've also got an Adidas sponsor as well at the moment. So yeah, that's it at the moment.
What do you think? Come on, not easy.
Takes a lot of bottle to come up here and do this. It takes a lot of bottle to come up here and do this for starters.
Not easy.
I've seen your podcast, I was saying before, and I really like it. I'm really impressed. I like that different angle that you come in at, and it's a different angle to what we do.
Yeah.
Have you got studio space?
Currently, we rent a space at the moment.
Okay, well, I've got a studio in London Bridge in London. I'll give you that for free.
Yeah. Okay,
if you want.
Thank you.
And I'll give you £20,000 so you can quit your job and focus on this full time. Wow. You got what you need.
Thank you, man.
All right?
Cool, no problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you,
Pleasure,
man.
always pleasure. Top man.
All right, well, we've got 45 seconds left, which is unheard of, isn't it? Absolutely unheard of. I thought, do we need to fill the space? Anyone got a question? All right. Go on, this lady here, go on. Give her the mic.
First of all, I just want to say well done to you. That is so inspiring, and thank you, Rio and Simon, for your talk. Simon, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. As a young girl who comes from a tiny village in the middle of nowhere in the south of Ireland, I grew up with no money, no network, and no connections. I built 2 businesses from a horse shed.
Well done, round of applause.
And I did it by doing the thing embarrassed and doing it scared. And I truly believe that embarrassment is the cost of entry. Hence why I'm standing up here right now doing it scared. I am a host of the Orange Juice Theory podcast, and I pitched live to Stephen Bartlett on stage in October, and I actually reached out to you. I was like, Simon, I know you're friends with Stephen. We need some help to get his attention. But my main goal is to do a Do It Scared challenge, where I want as much people here as possible to do the thing scared. Post the video, start the podcast, start the business, because I started mine from my horse shed and here I am today. So
Do It Scared is such a great message. He just did it scared. He should join your challenge. He's pushed himself through pain to get here. Well said.
Yeah. So I hope you don't mind me asking you a question, but my question to you is, what challenge do you give me? Because, look, I could ask you for money here today, but that's not what I want. I actually want to make an impact on the world and to help as much people as possible. And the only way I can do that is by building a movement. So I really don't care about money. I got here with no money, and you all can too. Maybe it's different in Dubai, I don't know.
Are you making money now?
So basically, I have built 3 businesses now, and we're building the 1% movement. It's basically a business that I've co-founded with my friend Emma here, and that's going to be underneath the media business. So the Orange Juice Theory is the podcast, but we funnel that then into the 1% movement, which helps aspiring founders to get where they are. Because I do think that, you know, that saying like just start, it's not as easy as that. So that's why we're helping as much people as possible at a low ticket price. But the Orange Juice Theory podcast is going to be the funnel in.
Well, congratulations. I'm launching a 10% fund. All my businesses are giving 10% of their profit to fund people's dreams. Maybe we can join up and you can get involved in it.
I would absolutely love that. Thank you so
help
much.
the younger you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the mic.
I just have one more question.
Oh, okay. I knew putting questions in the audience would get me into trouble. Now it's blinking at me.
One more, I promise. What challenge do you give me to do it scared for the entire year that other people can follow so that they're inspired to do it scared too?
Let me tweet about it later because I can't think of the answer right now. I need to know more about you.
Okay, well,
running a marathon.
Do you need my contact?
Sorry?
Do you need my contact?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Can I
Do
give it to you
everything.
now?
Yes.
Okay, amazing.
Okay.
Will I give it?
What's happening?
Can I get your phone to put it?
Oh, yeah, well, afterwards. Yeah,
Okay.
my colleagues over there I'll do it later.
Where will I
DM
put
me.
it?
DM me.
You won't see it.
I will, I promise. I'll see.
You got to give up
All these people are my witness.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Move away. What hustle. Great hustle. I'm scared a little bit, but I like the hustle. Okay, I think we're wrapping up. Thank you, Rio. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Oh, one more.
Where's the boss?
One more question.
One more question. All right, do it. One more boss from this guy with the bag. Okay. Where's the mic? Shout. Which one? Go on then. Come on then. Let's do it. That was an easy question. Have a phone. Yeah, all right. I'm never going to get invited back. This will be the last year. Come on. Let's do it.
I'm living it. I'm living.
All right. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks Rio, you're a superstar. Thank you so much.
I'll catch up with you through Simon.
Jordan's going to send an email quitting today. You're going to follow your dream. I'm sending you the cash today. Okay. All right, well done, my friend. So proud of you. Well done, lovely.
That's awesome! You did great. You did so great. Wow, what a session.
Right? This is the stage where dreams come true.
No, truly. Well, my dreams are true right now. Being here on stage with you.
Let's go. You caught me off guard. All right. So, what was something you want to share with us? I know you had a lot going on. There was something.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Rio and Simon, for that incredible session. Awesome seeing people's dreams come true right here with the investment in the podcast was amazing. And it was so crazy because right before we came up on here, we got the opportunity to spend some time with them and talk with them. And I was backstage and I was like, man, I really just want to ask Simon one question. I want to ask him one question. So I pull out my phone, we're recording a little interview, and I say, Simon, everybody wants to ask you, what is your dream? But I want to know, what's your nightmare?
Also, you're the person he mentioned on stage.
I was, and I was freaking out, because then he asked Rio, which was so awesome. So
now, you know what? I'm going to bounce it back. What is your nightmare?
What is my nightmare? Oh my gosh, probably falling off this stage.
That is one.
That would not be ideal at all.
No, definitely not. We got people to protect us here.
Truly.
Honestly, it's really interesting how this is the place of opportunities, right? We have had Saeed Al-Gargawi earlier speaking about how content creation, when it comes to that, Dubai is the place to start. And holding out sessions like the 1 Billion Followers Summit, whether you get a chance to interact with the people coming in or just network with others, you never know. The person sitting right next to you might be someone who's going to help make your dream come true.
You could be sitting next to your next co-founder
100%.
of something, your next investor, right?
Exactly, and this is the whole point of this summit. So you need to network, talk to people, because that's where it goes. And without further ado, I think we dive into our next session.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do it.
All right, now being a content creator today is demanding, and then imagine wanting to pursue something else in excellence. When those worlds collide and at the same time you want to start a business, the challenge multiplies.
So the question then becomes, well, how do you juggle all of those things together? And lucky for you, our next speaker lives that reality as both an athlete and a creator.
He'll share how he balances training, performance, and content creation, and how that journey led him to build multiple revenue streams beyond the sport.
So everybody join me in please welcoming Bashar Arabi.
Make some noise!
اوكي، السلام عليكم. البانل تبعي حتكون مهمة لكل صناع المحتوى بكل المجالات، سواء اللي عندهم 1000 100,000 أو حتى ملايين المتابعين. اللي بيعرفني أهلا وسهلا، واللي ما بيعرفني أنا بشار عربي، أكبر صانع محتوى رياضي في الشرق الأوسط. القصة تبعي بدأت من 10 سنين لما كان حلمي إني يكون لاعب كرة قدم، لكن بابا رفض بوقتها الحلم هاد، لأن بابا بزنس مان، فكان طموحه كله إنه هذا ابني الوحيد حيمسك لي الشركات تبعي، بس للأسف خالفت الخطة تبعه. بوقتها قبلت إني ما أكون لاعب كرة قدم، بس تمنيت وكان عندي حلم إني استمر بالمجال هذا، إني أكون برضه بنفس الوقت موجود بعالم كرة القدم. فقررت إني أبدأ بعالم صناعة المحتوى الرياضي. اللي صار بعدها إني لما بديت بانت قدامي التحديات اللي عم واجهها، اللي هي من أهمها إني أنا ما حقدر إني أكون لاعب كرة قدم فقط وخلي ناس تتابعني، وهذا الشيء خلاني أتدرب أكثر وطور حالي بالأشياء اللي الناس عم تستنى تشوفها، والأشياء اللي ممكن إنها تنتشر، اللي هي مثل المهارات والتصويب والفري ستايل فوتبول. بدايتي كنت أتمرن 12 ساعة باليوم، حرفيا ما كان عندي أي شيء بحياتي غير أني أطور حالي وأبني حالي. ولما بديت التصوير بانت المصاعب، لأنه صناعة المحتوى الرياضي بتتطلب أن يكون عندك فريق عمل من البداية، ولما ما كان عندي فريق عمل، فهذا فريق العمل اللي كان عندي هون كانت كاميرا أخذها من أي حدا، قاعدة يحاول أني أحط كراتين بس مشان ضبط التصوير بوقتها فيها. لكن اللي صار بعدين خلال الرحلة أني استمريت لمدة 3 سنين بالمجال هذا، تدريب، تصوير، معاناة جدا كبيرة بدرجات الحرارة بالشمس وبالملاعب، بس بدون نتائج. وكمان لما بديت اللي صار انه كثير من اصحابي زملائي وحتى عائلتي ما كانوا مؤمنين فيني وبالشيء اللي عم ساويه، وكان فعليا عم يجيني تنمر جدا كبير. فخطرت ببالي بوقتها شغله انه هل معقول كل الناجحين عم يواجهوا الشيء اللي انا عم واجهه هاد؟ قررت اني اشتري كتاب اسمه كيف اصبحوا عظماء، واقدر اقرا، مشان اقدر اقرا كل يوم عن شخصيه عظيمه. هذا بيحكي عن 100 شخصيه، والكتاب هذا على فكره مش اعلان، الموضوع ده مش اعلان، لكن هذا الكتاب بيحكي عن 100 شخصيه عظيمه بكل مجالات الحياه. فكل يوم كنت اقرا مسيره شخص مثل بيلي، اينشتاين، علماء، لاعبين، اثليتس، رياضيين، لحتى اكتشفت انه مو بس انا اللي عم عاني، وكل الناجحين بداياتهم بتكون مجحفه وصعبه كثير. واللي صار بعدين بعد 3 سنين من التنزيل بدون متابعين، اني نزلت فكرة فيديو قررت اني واخيرا شغل فيها شوي مخي، مش بس اشتغل بجهد، اشتغل بذكاء كمان، وربطت اسمي باسم نيمار. فكان عنوان المقطع شاب عربي يتحدى نيمار في المهارات. بالبداية انا ما كنت مؤمن انه هذا الفيديو ممكن يجيب نتيجة، لان المهارات اللي عم سويها كانت سهلة، لكن اللي صار اني لما اشتغلت بذكاء وربطت اسمي بنيمار، ناس كتير صارت تتابعني، ومن هي الشرارة بدت الانطلاقة. بس اللي صار هون انه الفرحة ما كملت، لاني اول ما تخرجت من المدرسة كان عمري 18 سنة، والدي على طول قال لي اوكي انت تخرجت، تعال معي على الشركة. وبعدها كمان طلب مني اني فوت على الجامعة. فكنت اللي عم بعمله اني عايش 4 شخصيات باليوم الواحد، موظف مع والدي، وطالب بالجامعة، وصانع محتوى، ورياضي. فأنا لازم إني طور حالي كرياضي وطور حالي كصانع محتوى، وبرضه عم بشتغل مع بابا 9 ساعات باليوم، وعم داوم بالجامعة الصبح. كان الموضوع كتير صعب، وفعليا ال3 سنين هي اللي بنتني من سنة 18 لل20، لأنه عشت بوقتها بضغط جدا كبير، وخلى أي شيء بعدين علي سهل. نقطة التحول كانت بالكورونا بال2020. لما اجت الكورونا انصبت فيها وانحجرت شهر كامل بغرفة واحدة. طبعا طلعت منها شخص ثاني، طلعت منها وحش. فورا رحت لعند بابا وقلت له بابا شوف انا ما بدي اكمل معك بالشغل. بابا كان شايف بوقتها ان الطفل هذا اللي كان قاعد عم يعمل اشياء حاليا بدأ يوصل لشيء، لانه بوقتها كنت واصل ل1,000,000 مشترك تقريبا. فاللي صار انه سمح لي اني كمل لحالي، وهون كانت القفزة الحقيقية. أجلت الجامعة تبعي، تركت الشغل مع بابا، فبديت إني أبدأ أركز فقط على إني أكون أثليت وصانع محتوى. كنت كتير نحيف، كان تقريبا وزني 52 كيلو، رفعت فورا وزني مشان يكون جسمي جسم رياضي، وبنفس الوقت طورت مهاراتي. بنفس الوقت بديت أبني فريق عمل. هدول هم كان هون عمري 20 سنة تقريبا 19 سنة، هم من أصحابي، كنا جروب أصحاب، فكانوا عم يحاولوا انهم يساعدوني بالبدايات. وفريق العمل هذا كونته
قبل 2 مليون متابع. واللي صار انه من 2020 لحد الان قدرنا بفضل من رب العالمين انه نقدر نكون اول قناة رياضية عربية باليوتيوب بتوصل لاكثر من 10 مليون مشترك. وبنفس الوقت عندنا اكثر من 23 مليون متابع على مختلف المنصات، وبنفس الوقت اكثر من 3 مليار مشاهدة. والرقم هذا بس مشان تستوعبوه، انا كل ما بتخيل بي ان سبورتس اللي هي عملاق الرياضة اللي انا بتابع كل المباريات تقريبا اللي بدي اياها عليها، الرقم هذا اعلى من الرقم تبعهم. فمشان هيك انا بفضل من رب العالمين كثير فخور بالشيء هذا. وافضل شيء صار بالنسبه لإلي اني بفضل من الله قدرت اوصل للرقم هذا بدون ما اتخلى عن مبادئ انا كنت حاططها لإلي من البدايه. ببدايتي انا اخذت قرار ان المحتوى تبعي ما بدي انزل فيه ميوزك. ناس كثير قالت لي مستحيل تقدر توصل للناس بدون ميوزك، بس الحمد لله بتوفيق من الله كان في انجاز سويناه، اني كنت صاحب اول قناه على مستوى العالم في اليوتيوب، واول صانع محتوى على مستوى العالم بيوصل لل10 مليون مشترك بدون ما يحط ميوزك حتى بالفيديوهات تبعه. واللي وصلنا له هلا كمان انه فريق العمل تبعي كبر من كونه فقط مجرد اصدقاء وزملاء لمكاتب ولشركه فيها اداره اعمال، فيها مصورين، منتجين، مخرجين، مساعدين ميدانيين، بحيث اني اقدر اطور من حالي واطور شغلي. وقدرنا الحمد لله كمان انه نوصل لكل دوريات العالم. الدوري الايطالي صورنا معهم، الدوري الانجليزي صورت معهم، لعبت برضه مع اساطير بالنسبه لي اندريس انيستا، R9 رونالدو البرازيلي، وقريبا باذن الله تعالى كريستيانو رونالدو قادم. بعيدا عن صناعه المحتوى كمان قدرت اني اصنع دوره هي مرجع لكل الشباب ولكل اللاعبين اللي بيطمحوا بتطوير مهاراتهم بكرة القدم. فعملت دورة اللاعب المهاري وأخذت رخصة مدرب محترف من فيفا. فأنا الآن برضو مدرب محترف، وعندي دورة موجودة فيها أكثر من 50 درس التدريب على مهارات كرة القدم. وبرضو بنفس الوقت نوعنا مصادر الدخل مشان نقدر إنه نتطور بأسرع وقت ممكن، لأن اللي فيه أنا كثير مبسوط فيه، لكن إن شاء الله تعالى بنطمح لأكبر من هيك بكثير إن شاء الله بالسنين الجاية. ختاما اللي بدي وصل لكم اياه من القصه هي، تمنيت اني قلتها بصراحه بشكل اسرع، لانه اللي بيهمني الفاليو اللي بدي اعطيه للموجودين بالقاعه اليوم. الخلاصه هي انه تبدا في جمله انا قريتها من الكتاب اللي هو كيف اصبحوا عظماء، وبوقتها حطيتها على السوشيال ميديا عندي بال 2016. الجمله كانت: ليس عليك ان تكون عظيما لتبدا، عليك ان تبدا لتصبح عظيما. الجملة هي أنا آمنت فيها وكانت عم تهون علي كثير البدايات. وكمان مو بس أنا اللي بديت، في لاعبين كثير الآن، لاعبين كرة قدم ونجوم محترفين بدوا قنواتهم على السوشيال ميديا، وهذا بيورجيكم أهمية صناعة المحتوى حتى لنجوم عالميين مثل كريستيانو، لامين يامال، وإيرلينغ هالاند وغيرهم كمان من القنوات. وكمان ببداية أي شخص مو مطلوب إنه يكون الكل مؤمنين فيك، أنت أهم شيء إنك تآمن بنفسك وتتوكل على الله. وبنفس الوقت صناعة المحتوى، أنا هي بدي أعطي نصيحة هي لكل صناع المحتوى اللي هم رياضيين أو فنانين، ممنتجين مثلهم ما شاء الله سامي الشافعي موجود عنا. أي شخص عنده فاليو عم يقدمه، لا تركز فقط على الموهبة أو الفن اللي أنت عم تقدمه. على قد ما أنت عم تتعب لتكون لاعب أفضل، فنان أفضل، اتعب على أنك تكون صانع محتوى أفضل، لأنه أنت وظيفتك بالأول وبالآخر هي صانع محتوى. فأنت لما بتتعب على الكاركتر تبعك بتقدر توصل فنك للناس. شغلة أخيرة لازم الكل ينتبه منها، اللي هو دور الضحية. اوعك تعيش دور الضحية، لأنه هذا الشيء كان حيخليني وحيوقف مسيرتي من البداية. دور الضحية هذا هو انك تقول، عم تقارن نفسك بالتانيين، انا عم بعمل أكثر من غيري، أنا عم بتعب أكثر من غيري، بس أنا ما عم لاقي نتائج. أنا قاعد عم بتمرن وأنا أثليت وصانع محتوى ولاعب بنفس الوقت، لكن النتائج اللي عم جيبها في غير عم يجيب أعلى منها بكتير. لو وقعت بدور الضحية مخك ما حيستسلم فورا وحتوقف وما حتقدر إنك تنجز وتبدع بمجالك وتستمر. فمشان هيك اتوكل دائما على رب العالمين وحافظ على الفيجن تبعك، وبإذن الله تعالى بتوصل. شكرا كثير لكم، الله يعطيكم العافية. شكرا.
Thank you so much, Bashar, for that amazing session. I hope everyone took something and learned something from that.
Happening. And right now, we are actually going to take a short 10-minute break so you can get a little drink, get a little snack.
Right, we're going to be back here in 10 minutes. Be sure to grab something, be back on time, because I'm pretty sure everyone is really, really excited for what's coming up next. What's coming up next?
Hey! Woohoo!
Guys, 10 minutes. Or stay here and reserve your spot, because it's Will Smith.
It's Will Smith.
We say it again. All right, 10 minutes.
We'll see you soon.
You can stay.
Yeah.
Hello, welcome back, and kind of welcome back, because I think y'all just stayed here.
No one even moved. Everyone's just seated where they are, right?
Y'all stay sat, which I would too.
Yep.
You know, who we got coming next is pretty crazy.
Will Smith.
Pretty crazy.
Because I'm sure everyone's waiting for this moment.
Yes. All right. Are you guys ready? I gotta hear from noise. Are you guys ready for one of the biggest moments of the summit?
Let's hear it all together. 1 billion summit. 3, 2, 1. 1 billion summit. Based on that energy, I think we're ready to dive right in.
Truly. And you're about to hear from someone who did something truly unreal.
100 days traveling from South Pole to North Pole through freezing cold, jungles, mountains, deserts, and the open sea. Scientists, communities, and explorers all along the way.
And he's not doing this conversation alone. He's joined by a visionary who's turned sustainability into a way of life through the sustainable city model.
And one of the UAE's most loved storytellers.
Make some noise to welcome Will Smith, Faris Saeed, and Khaled Al-Amri.
Let's make some noise!
Yes. Woo! Wow. What's happening, brother? How you doing? All right. Hey! All right, they're ready. Thank you. Wow. Woo. Well, that's fun. Wow. Oh, I'm very, very excited to be here. Thank you all for that wonderful welcome. I feel so far.
Me too. I don't know.
Oh, man. No, thank you very much.
I don't know how. Is my mic on?
There's a button. Yeah, turn it on. There you go. It wasn't on. Yeah. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, Will.
Wa alaikum salam.
Faris. It's good to be here with you both. I'm very excited to be hosting this session. The energy in this room right now, Will, is... Like, I'm getting goosebumps just watching it. You know, it's incredible. Will Smith. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, a lot to talk about today.
Yes.
Pole to Pole has just had its premiere yesterday at the Sustainable City.
Yes, absolutely.
We got a congratulations on the new documentary come out.
Yes. And for those of you that don't know, the Pole to Pole is a documentary we shot over the last couple of years. We I traveled from the South Pole all the way across the world to the North Pole. So it's 7 episodes, and went to the most extreme environments on Earth to interact with the people who live there. And it's very, very funny. The show is funny, and it's really heartwarming and visual spectacle. So shout out to Disney and Nat Geo for the show. So it's coming soon.
And just so you don't make the same mistake that I did, it comes out on January 14th.
Yes, absolutely.
Not today.
Not today, yeah, January 14th.
So I know it premiered yesterday. I wanted to do my research, so I went on and I just saw the trailer, which was incredible, by the way.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Really, really incredible. And you know, for me, just watching it and some of the things you said, the one thing that stuck out to me is the solutions to the world's greatest problems are found at the edges of the earth.
Yes, absolutely.
And you really explored it. 7 continents, 100 days, pole to pole.
Yeah.
Look, I know whenever you do something, Will, whenever I've seen it throughout your career, you always take the hard things, the hard projects. You always choose the hard way. So I want to ask you, in this documentary that you did, pole to pole, 100 days, how does that change you as a human being?
Well, you know, we did some things that were quite terrifying. We went scuba diving at the North Pole. So under the ice, there's a hole in the ice, and we went scuba diving under the ice. And there's something really disconcerting. You go down, and it's gorgeous. It looks like upside down ice mountain range, right? So there's these, you know, huge stalactites, and it's ice, and the sun is coming through, but there's something really disconcerting when you're down and you go under the ice and you come up and you hit the ice, and then you have to grab your tether and make your way back to where the hole is, right? So that was, it was really, you know, but one of the things that I learned on this journey is that if you're scared, you can't really enjoy this world, right? That fear is the greatest enemy to all of the wildest dreams, and the ability to see beauty and the ability to find happiness here is directly correlated to how easily you can be with discomfort. You know, you can't really have love if you're not willing to venture into scary places. You can't really start a business if you're not willing to venture into scary places. You know, so that the big takeaway for me was learning how to manage my mind in situations of absolute terror.
And so that's a good segue into the next question, Will. And you talk about facing your fears, and when I watched that trailer, there were a few moments that I cracked up when you saw the spiders.
Yes.
When you, at the very end of the trailer, you're like, I need to go to the bathroom, and then you heard some sounds in the jungle, I believe it was. You're like, I'll just go to the bathroom in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, that was in the Amazon, and they have these things called howler monkeys.
Oh yeah.
And the howler monkeys sound like the devil made them, right? Like they are screaming at the top of their lungs, and I just, you know, I had to go to the bathroom, but I was like, nah, I'll hold it till the morning. I'll hold it till the morning.
So when you talk about, you know, facing your fears, the challenges that you have to be willing to go through to live this life of happiness, in this journey from pole to pole, you're exploring the earth. What is some of the magic moments that you discovered about our environment? What's some of the biggest fears that you overcame there when discovering our planet that really sit with you and you think would be a strong message to the crowd today?
You know, one of the things, And the show is 7 episodes, and there's some really beautiful things. I would encourage you all to watch with your families. It's a great, like, beautiful questions come up. But one of the things, there's one of the experts, Brian Fry. Brian might be in here somewhere, but Brian's a venomologist, right? And so he studies venomous creatures. And so we were there going into an unexplored cave looking for venomous creatures, which was ridiculous. But we were in there, we found this spider, and we milked a tarantula.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that, but we milked a poisonous tarantula, and I gotta tell you, the tarantula was just as surprised as I was to be milked. But one of the ideas that came out that was so interesting with Brian, he was talking about how many medicinal cures come from toxins. That from poison, cure is created. And that was such an interesting idea that we looked at it biologically, but also I think that's a spiritual idea also, that from your darkest difficulties, right in the center of your greatest pain, right in the center of your greatest adversity is the cure. That the cure is at the heart of the difficulty. And I just thought that was such a beautiful idea.
I love it. So Will, the thing for me, and that I was very curious to ask you, when I was watching the trailer, when I heard about the project from Faris, when I heard you were premiering it, is this a wake-up call for people to understand the planet more? Is this much about climate change? Also, in the trailer you said you didn't just learn about the planet, you learned about yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Or is this a message of someone to be inspired to do something in their life, or is it all three? Like, how would you describe people who walk away from it?
You know, to me, it was interesting. It started out, you know, it's Disney, it's Nat Geo, which, by the way, that combination of Disney and Nat Geo is like an absolute dream come true for me. Disney magic is real. You know, I've worked with them 2 times. I did the Aladdin and doing these shows, and Nat Geo, people around the world let Nat Geo do things and go places that there's very few, you know, companies on earth, some of the things we were allowed to do. So shout out to Nat Geo. But it started out as science, and then it turned into a little bit of spirituality, and then for me ultimately ended in a journey of self-discovery. You know, being out in those extreme scenarios introduced me to myself in a way that I hope that people can feel when they watch it, the critical importance of turning our searchlights from outer to inner. And when I began to look back on myself and what is my responsibility and what's my job and in this world, what do I want to do moving forward, it just became really clear to me that I want to be a part of the human future of connectivity. I saw how everything was kind of connected in one thing, and how it's really important to really find those moments of connectivity and the recognition of how much more the same we are than different. We're really similar. I sat in the jungle of Ecuador, and, you know, a guy named Penty, who was the head of his tribe, and he had the same problems and questions and difficulties in life as a Buddhist monk we sat with in Bhutan. You know, so it's like there's this oneness of humanity that came through really clearly for me.
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. So you've seen all 7 continents. You've gone pole to pole, 100 days. January 14th, everyone. I've set the reminder already. And you chose a beautiful place, the sustainable city, as somewhere to premiere. And it's a gorgeous place. I even saw on the Instagram stories you going around the community, meeting with the kids, meeting, you know, I think you went to the farm as well that was there.
Absolutely.
And what were your thoughts on seeing the work that Faris and his team have done with the sustainable city? And what do you think other communities around the world can do to support a mission like Pole to Pole and the future of the planet?
You know, I took the tour with Faris yesterday at the Sustainable City, and, you know, I was really blown away. You have done brilliant, beautiful work, and yes, give it up, absolutely. And if you haven't seen the Sustainable City, can people go and take a tour, or what? I don't know. Everybody go ahead down to the Sustainable City. Everybody go. I know how. I don't know. Am I supposed to say that? But yeah, if you know, just look it up. Start by Googling it if you haven't. But the Sustainable City, you know, the work that Faris is doing for the future of how we will hopefully not be forced, but potentially be forced. You know, hopefully we'll go calmly. But there's such beautiful ideas. You know, a full decade ahead of the rest of the world on the ideas of how to live with the planet more cohesively.
If I may, Will, like I just want to also ask Faris, you know, a question. What was it like having Will Smith in the sustainable city? You know, in that, I mean, what were the residents probably woke up and be like, what's going on here?
In fact, everyone was excited. Everyone was waiting for him. Even we could not take him to every place we planned to, because the crowds, all the city was waiting for him. I don't know how they knew about it, maybe because we announced. But it went very well. They loved him. He was very friendly with everyone.
Yeah.
And they loved everything about him. Then we did the premiere, and it was good.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yes, and thank you for that. The premiere was last night at the Sustainable City, and you know, it was. You know, I love Dubai. First of all, you know.
We know.
Miami and Dubai, my 2 favorite cities in the world. You know, so the Sustainable City was like another little, you know, hidden gem in Dubai. So the premiere last night there was hosted, and it was magnificent. Oh, that bug!
Oh, whoa!
I know I can't pretend like I'm an explorer and jump when a bug hits my arm. You know, it was just a fly. It was just a fly. Yeah, I'm like, you know, I'm this deep explorer, and we did all these hard things. Oh no, I lost all my cool points.
So, Faris, you know, Will said something really interesting when he was describing Sustainable City, how, you know, you were pretty much 10 years ahead of the game, and now you're seeing a lot of developments playing catch up.
Yeah.
How has, you know, the experience with like Pole to Pole, working with Will Smith, you know, the way that you and your team are thinking about how you're going to be ahead of the game now? Like, what's the future of sustainable cities with AI, with technology, with all these things you're seeing in the world today?
Of course, we have to speculate the future. And the best quote I can use here, His Highness Sheikh محمد bin Rashid, when he said, the future belongs to those who can imagine it, design it, and build it.
Yes.
Now we are creating the Sustainable City 2.0. I had some discussions with Will yesterday about it. And this is how we believe the future is going to be and how it will look like. So we are calling it as a post-AI era cities. We designed, we imagined, we designed, and we are starting to execute soon. So we know the future is going to, some people are afraid of the future, some people are skeptical about the future, everyone is speculating. But based on what we learned, what we listened to, the experts, the future is going to be creating the AI, the post-AI era, is going to create like abundance of main two things which humanity has never been blessed to have. It's time and resources. With AI, we won't need anymore to work more than 2 to 3 hours in the future to achieve or to put food on the table. So we will have a lot of extra time. We'll have like 20 hours. We sleep 8, 10 hours, whatever. Still we have 10 hours or 12 hours to fill our time. So we designed the city in a way where we created like everything we created is around social. So we created every activity you could think of, it's going to be in the sustainable city. From sports to arts to culture to debates to everything you could think of is going to be the main core of the new Sustainable City 2.0. When it comes to resources, because the efficiency of production is improving using AI, again, there will be abundance of production. So food will be abundance, energy will be abundance, and water is going to be. So in the city, we are going to produce like most of our food within the city. We'll produce all of our energy, in fact, within the city, and all of our water. So we are trying again to imagine the future and design it, and we are building it. Hopefully, of course, it's going to be like a working model, just like what we have done now. We learned a lot from what we have done 10 years ago, and hoping that the future is going to be building like a blueprint for the future.
Much fun.
Thank you.
Faris, I know how, I've worked with you before. I've been a resident of Sustainable City. I know how gorgeous it is, an incredible community you've built, and what you've done requires someone to be brave, you and your family. I've seen the work you've done, mashallah. So my question is how, what's next for us? How can Will Smith, Khalid, everyone in this room be part of your vision? Because I want to be with you 10 years ahead. We all want to be there, inshallah. So how can we be part of it?
I'm honored to have you. Of course, I had discussion again with Will yesterday, and I told him simply, I'm going to build a city, and you tell the world about it. Deliver the message to the whole world.
Marketing strategy done.
I'm not influencer. I don't know. This is my first time, in fact, to speak in front of this big audience. So you are the experts, and we work, and you just tell the world what we do.
Done. Consider it done. Done, Faris. Thank you for being an inspiration to us all, and thank you for bringing Will Smith to premiere at Sustainable City. I couldn't have imagined a better place. It really is. The messages are just so intertwined. So I want to leave it to you, Will. Given your journey that you've just been on, given your connection with Faris and the Sustainable City and what you know now, what is a message? The room is buzzing, everyone's locked in. What would be a message that you would want to pass to everyone here that they would pass on to others in the next generation, inshallah?
So Faris and I had a moment yesterday. He's built a school in the Sustainable City that caters to children with autism.
Yes.
And we had a moment. And, we took a tour of the school, and, a young girl made us smoothies. Was Maya? Maya made us smoothies. And, we didn't really talk about it, but Faris and I just kind of caught eyes, and there's a very simple human idea. And rather than try to explain it, I'd like to do something with all of you right now. I'd like everybody to take your attention to the people around you. Take your attention off of us and just notice all of the people around you. Huh?
And the animals too.
And the animals too, yes, absolutely. No, that's true. No, that's true. That's true. Now, notice all of the people around you. Now, somebody in here is going through a divorce. Somebody around you just lost a job. Somebody around you just got a medical diagnosis. Right now, there are people sitting near you going through things and you have no idea the difficulty that people are having. And sometimes we can get so distracted that we forget that we're all humans having a hard time. You know, so if you're with somebody that you know, somebody that you love, just give them a hug. Just give them a hug. If you're with somebody, you know, just give them a hug. If there's somebody, just look and like, whatever you're going through, I know you got it. There you go. I know you got it. And the simplicity, you have no idea, just a gentle moment of making eye contact with somebody and recognizing their shared humanity, and you don't know specifically what you're going through, what they're going through, but you know they're going through something because everybody is. And just a simple moment.
Will, can I give you a hug?
Yes, absolutely. And really, that was kind of a moment that Faris and I shared yesterday. And the simple idea is basic humanity. Just tap into just really basic humanity. And we're certainly not going to make it if we don't help each other. Yeah. You know, and, you know, it is just, it's really beautiful to see when I was going through the sustainable city. It's like a community of people that are awake to the idea of helping each other. You know, so for me, that was one of the greatest moments of that trip and that tour, just the simplicity of recognizing the hard time we're having and being a part of each other's solutions, not being a part of each other's problems.
In fact,
I just want to say, Faris, please.
I need to comment on the autism village, we call it, Sanad, what we have done there. It's the biggest thing I'm proud of, in fact. Everything we achieve, it's tangible, and you can measure how much energy we saved, how much water, whatever. But when it comes to autism and the inclusion part of our sustainability, it is where it's a life changer, in fact. We have like 150 students. We managed to send 70 of them to the mainstream school, which is considered like a huge achievement. And the joy, the pleasure, the emotions in their parents' eyes when you see it, it worth the whole world, in fact. And this is where I feel so good, and it makes me always wants to do more and more. And in the new city, we are including the kids, even including them more, to be part of the community. So, thank you for highlighting this.
I just want to close and say, I think, you know, everything's focused a lot on the projects that you're doing, but the thing that I loved about being part of this panel, and I think what connects you both in a way that maybe you realize, maybe you don't, is what I said to you, Will, at the beginning, is what's inspired me through your journey and through you, Faris, is you guys choose the hard path. You like, what's the hardest way I can do this? And you do it. And for me, that is inspiring. Every role that you've done, every project that you've done. I remember when you started your social media, you were like, how can I do the hardest work? Because that's going to get me where I need to go. And Faris, you're the same. Like, how do I change the world now, not 10 years from now? And you're both inspiring human beings. You both deserve your flowers. I wish you all the success and the happiness in the world, inshallah. Thank you. Thank you. And this is, I'm very transparent in my life. It's awkward. I don't know how we wrap this up.
Oh, that was good. That was good. Yeah. No, you're doing great. You're great. Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah.
Is it are we just, Salam?
Generally, if you beatbox, if you just do the beatbox, yeah.
That's you.
So this is a story all about how my life got twisted, turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there. Came to Prince of a town called Bel Air.
I love it. You're my
hero. Thank you very much.
Thank you all, thank you.
سلم ايديك.
Guys, if everyone can stay seated, we have a special moment happening. I'd really appreciate everyone's cooperation. Kindly, I would ask you all to get seated. We have a special moment happening right now. Please get your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to your seats. We are about to announce a special moment. Everyone, kindly would ask you to all stay seated. We're about to dive into a very special moment. Let's all cooperate and make this happen.
Yes. If everyone can please find their seat, so most importantly, he can get out of here safely.
Yeah, let him walk. Let him walk, guys. I know it's exciting. We didn't even get a picture.
We didn't get a photo.
Let's just sit down and keep going.
Okay. If everyone can please take their seats. We have something very exciting happening next.
Exactly. We have been waiting for this moment all day.
Yes.
Without further ado, let's dive right into it.
Let's do it. Well, again, thank you so much to Will, Faris, and Khaled. It is now time, though, to talk about the award that's happening next. So, very exciting, but we have launched an award to appreciate teachers who have gone from classrooms to social media.
The purpose of this award is to help people from all around the world, to teach them, to create something impactful. And now, before we get into it, I invite you all to watch this video with us. Thank you.
What happens when teachers decide their classroom isn't big enough? Learning moves beyond the four walls and reaches anyone with a screen.
Oxygen in and I say this with chest. Carbon dioxide required to leave.
The TikTok Educator Award, created to recognize educators who didn't limit their impact to only those who could be present.
Say mama.
Earth is spinning. Why don't planes travel faster in one direction than the other?
Reaching millions who may never sit in a classroom.
Entropy is either subjective, doesn't apply, or is trivially unchanging.
But who can still learn through the internet?
Here are 5 of the worst allergy medications that you can get without a prescription.
And when teaching reaches this far,
The Nazili of Egypt, and history is rather tragic.
it deserves more than applause. Honoring the teachers educating the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to see our 3 finalists for the Educator Award?
I want to make some noise. All right.
Let's make some noise. Our 3 finalists are Matt Green,
Dr. Amy,
and Abdullah Anan. Let's hear it for the 3 finalists.
Woohoo! It is now time to honor the winners of the world's first TikTok Educator Award, launched by the 1 Billion Followers Summit for $100,000.
Now please join me in welcoming Regional Manager of Operations, TikTok Middle East, Turkey, Africa, South and Central Asia, Kinda Ibrahim. And to present the award, it is our honor to invite to the stage His Highness Sheikh محمد bin Rashid bin محمد bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Thank you. And now,
the moment you all have been waiting for.
The winner of the TikTok Educator Award is Matt Green! Woo! Congratulations to Matt Green. Let's hear it for him. Make some noise. Woohoo! What a special moment.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I mean, you're again talking about a life-changing amount of money.
Wow, this is such a special moment we're all sharing with him here today. Congratulations again, Matt Green. Let's hear it from Matt Green. Let's make some noise. Thank you, Your Highness and Kinda. Thank you guys for joining us all on this special moment on stage. We're very happy that we all had a moment right here, right, Kayla?
Yes, amazing. So exciting.
This is our second time now today.
Second award. Congratulations, Matt.
Congratulations.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Yes.
We love it. All the best.
Amazing. Wow, there's been a life-changing amount of money given away here today from this stage.
Right? So much is going on, so many awards. It's full of opportunities. Like I said, and I keep saying it again, this place is where the magic happens, where dreams come true.
Absolutely. Well, that was such a special moment, and it's now time for the next exciting session of the day.
Now, social media moves fast. I think we can all agree with that, right? So much content, so quickly, and sometimes we forget what truly grounds us. When everything moves so fast, where do we go back to?
Truly. And with all that fun and the noise and the chaos, sometimes controlled, sometimes not.
Exactly.
How do we actually find balance in between all of that?
Well, this next conversation is going to help us know just that. We're going to explore how faith is a source of getting grounding, peace, and clarity in a fast-paced world.
And how mercy, compassion, and purpose can guide us through modern pressures.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mo Islam in conversation with Mufti Menk.
Make some noise!
Allah Yafi.
Test. Thank you everyone for sticking around. We're going to try to top the last session. It might be a bit challenging with the way Khalid handled it. Thank you for this honor, Mufti Menk. And just before we kick off, I have a little bio that I prepared, if you don't mind me reading it. Mufti Menk is a globally respected Islamic scholar, motivational speaker, and educator from Zimbabwe, renowned for his clear, compassionate, and practical approach to Islam. He has inspired millions worldwide through his lectures, writings, and digital platforms, with a strong emphasis on mercy, character development, and spiritual growth. Mufti Menk addresses contemporary challenges facing Muslims while making Islamic teachings accessible and relevant to people of all backgrounds. Mufti Menk, thank you so much for this honor.
Barakallah feek, mashallah.
We live in a world that is louder, that is faster than ever. You've seen the world pre-social media and you're in the middle of it right now. How does one attempt to stay grounded with so many distractions everywhere we look?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Firstly, Jazakallah khair, Habibi, and to everyone who is here. I think what's very important is to recognize that not everyone has the same upbringing. Not everyone comes from the same background or the same, they haven't had access to the same things. So you have people from different backgrounds. I think those who have families, those who have parents who are well grounded already have a head start. Because that plays a big role. Family plays a huge role in keeping a person grounded, helping them in an age that is changing so much. Similarly, a group of good friends who are around you would keep you really, really focused on the right things. In Islam, we usually say, focus on your friends. Because if you have a good set of friends, you will always be guided in the right direction. So some of the people who haven't, for example, had a family or good friendships and so on, they would have to work a little bit harder. I think frequenting the places of worship, in our case, the masjid, or those who pray, would actually help you remain grounded as well. Because there is so much of change that if I could say, Brother Mo, that if you watch social media, every few years there is a huge change, even in approach, even in the different, in what we use on social media, the style, the way we speak. Someone like me, what I might have said maybe 10 years ago, perhaps the same thing can be said in a better way because it's no longer palatable to the people out there. It becomes an irrelevant message only because of the way it was communicated. So it's really something worth looking into, and I believe that if you have a good circle around you, it will always keep you focused. So try to invest in having the best circle possible around you.
Well, it actually leads me into a question that's not in my notes. Sheikh Mufti, when you are working on your content, does it come easy to you, or are you in there in the lab taking notes, the way I maybe do in preparing for my podcast? Does it all come naturally to you, or do you do a lot of work behind the scenes?
I do very little work behind the scenes, and the reason is I know my subject, and the biggest thing I do is put myself in the shoes of those I'm going to talk to and think about it for a long time to say, whom am I going to address? Who are they? What are their circumstances? I don't want to judge them. I want to just help them understand that they do have a maker. I'm talking about my field. I want them to feel loved and so on. So the best preparation that I feel I could ever do is putting myself in the shoes of the crowd I'm about to address, more than anything else. My field, I know. You want to ask me about faith and religion and so on, I'm qualified in it. And what people are not qualified in is the approach, or sometimes thinking about who you're addressing, how far they've come. Some people have come so far, and when you look at them, because you have a judgmental mind, you think, gosh, this person's far from God Almighty. Who are you to say that? So I think this is what drives people away from God Almighty, when you're judging them without actually knowing their condition.
Absolutely. Many people feel spiritually connected in the world we live in today, yet emotionally exhausted at the same time. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? How can faith be a source of energy rather than constant pressure?
I think you have to go easy on yourself. A lot of the times people go very hard on themselves, and they want to do everything all together, all at once. So it becomes pressure, it becomes difficult, it becomes a challenge. It's very, I wouldn't like to say toxic because we're talking about faith, but hard to actually do. If you look at the Quran, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ. Allah wants ease for you. So you move at your pace, push yourself to the best of your capacity, and inshallah you'll be able to navigate it well. The minute you actually want to achieve more than your capacity, you have a major problem.
And I think that's where anxiety builds, when you start doing something that's not you, or putting more on your plate than the plate can handle. Would you agree?
I definitely do agree, and I want to tell you, those who have not been practicing, when they start practicing and they have a circle of friends who keep on telling them, you're not doing this right, you're not doing that right, you're not doing this right, that is very unhealthy. You have to learn to understand who you are before anything else. So when people say things, you have to filter out what's not relevant at that moment in your life. It could become relevant later on.
Beautiful. You often speak about mercy before judgment. Why is compassion such a central pillar of faith, especially in modern society?
I think the world is filled with negativity if you look at it. So many people think of negatives and they give negative vibes, they say negative comments. You go into the comment section of most of the beautiful videos, you'll always find someone, saying the least expected. And you start thinking, gosh, is this what the world is all about? In a world that's filled with this type of negativity, it's very important to actually have a positive mindset, to think forward, to be able to know where you stand, once again. So, if you're going to be affected by this negativity, you're not going to go anywhere. You have to learn to understand that the Lord that made you is so compassionate, so merciful. I could give a whole talk on how beautiful Allah Almighty is. He's kind, He's merciful, He's forgiving, He's oft forgiving, He gets so happy when you turn to Him. So many beautiful qualities. Unfortunately, that type of positivity is not spoken about that much. And in this day and age, we need it more than anything else.
That's why I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. There's a lot more positivity there.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah.
Didn't hit Khalid. Purpose is a word we hear everywhere. Career, success, and legacy. From an Islamic perspective, how should we define the word purpose, or gharad in Arabic, as we spoke about behind stage?
Yes. Purpose is something, like you say, we talk about all the time. I think as a Muslim and as a believer, if I look at what I'd like to achieve, and if I look at purpose, ultimately, I want to do whatever I do within what is okay with my Maker, so that I don't displease Him, or so that I can build both this world and the next. And that's a good way of looking at things, for those who believe. Because as much as I may achieve on earth so much, is it at the cost of what would happen after I die, for example? Or have I struck the right balance where I achieve in this world and yet I'm focused on something far bigger? I want to help people, I want to please my Maker, and at the same time the compassion and the mercy within me as well should drive me to do as much good as I can, pleasing my Maker. And when I die, I would know that I'm going to a good place. I've tried, I'm not an evil person. I'm not a person who has harmed someone or tried to hurt people. I've tried my best to help as best as I can. And therefore, I know I'm going to go to a better place. If you have the focus of pleasing your Maker as a believer, I think you'd be able to navigate this quite well.
Can you take me back in your early years when you were, a young man and looking for your way, looking for your purpose, and the moment where you felt that you found your purpose? Do you remember a specific moment in time when that was?
I grew up in a relatively religious home, so I studied the Quran at a very young age, but I always wanted to study medicine, and I had the grades, and I went to some of the best schools in Zimbabwe. And my father was the one who told me, listen, you want to go and study medicine, why don't you go to Medina first, because there is an acceptance note that has come for you. It's a long story, but in a nutshell, I ended up in Medina, and I wanted to leave at a certain point. And at that moment, there was a hadith of Bukhari, a narration of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, saying that Medina is so pure that it kicks out the dirty in the same way that a blacksmith would blow into the ore and kick out the dirt. And I listened to it without any explanations. Obviously, there's a big explanation to it. And I told myself, hey, I'm just planning to leave. And look at what's being said here. It's like Allah telling me, listen, you are going to have to stay here. And that's the moment when I made my mind up, you know what, I'm staying here and I don't care. And look where we are today. So I believe as much as I wanted to be a doctor, Allah chose for me something else. And where do I fit in? Just to add this to what our conversation is, I think we need a voice from time to time that takes into consideration the reality of the world before it opens its mouth, before speaking. So I have a lot of colleagues, a lot of people I know, sometimes they don't consider the reality. And they talk about religion as though it's some fantasy, as though it's so difficult, you know. It's always put on a level where you're never going to be able to achieve this. But if you watch people, like I said a little bit earlier, and put yourself in their shoes, wallahi, it's a game changer. I am not perfect. I still have a lot of growth. But I do remember a time when I met a group of youngsters and they were all religious. But if you looked at them, you wouldn't be able to tell that. Because when we were younger, we look at someone and say, this person's religious, this person's not religious. Now, it's different. You can see a person who looks outwardly so religious and they are not. And you can see someone outwardly and you're thinking maybe this person doesn't even pray. And yet they get up for tahajjud and the early morning prayer. So subhanAllah, that changed my perception. And I think to this day, I'm still growing, alhamdulillah.
I think many people are intimidated. You read the Quran, there are words that we don't use in everyday Arabic today. Al-ahadith also, it's tough to understand. Sheikh, was one of your missions to make it easier and less intimidating for your audience? Because I've seen your content on YouTube and Instagram, and what a following you have, mashallah. Was that one of your goals, to make the message slightly more easier and less intimidating for people to understand?
It definitely was, and I think it does help. The Arabic language, I mean, you speak Arabic very well. One word has a whole encyclopedia of meaning, depending on the context, depending on how it's used. I give you a quick example. Awliya is in Arabic, al-wali is a protector. And that word is, some people translate it as friends. I don't think it means friends. It doesn't mean friends just like that. Because I've never seen you hada waliyi, this is my friend. I say sadiqi, my friend. So that interpretation, it's not the word of God, it's the word of man trying to explain to you what he thinks is the closest explanation to what God Almighty is saying. So when I saw this, and I used to read the translations, and I used to say, this is not the right word, this is not the right word, meaning the translation. But the word of God, I believe, is flawless. So yes, indeed, I wanted to make it easier, and still we want to make it easy for people to navigate and understand. May Allah make it easy.
Ameen. Staying with social media, I mean, double-edged sword, right? It's given everyone a voice, even those who don't say the nice things to us in the comment section. But it's also increased comparison, and the old saying, comparison is the thief of joy. How can people protect their inner peace while staying engaged with the world we live in?
That's very difficult, because when you know who you are and you love yourself the way you are, it becomes difficult for people to make you do things that are enslaving to a degree. What I mean by this is, I always tell people the biggest liberation you are ever going to have is to look into the mirror and tell yourself, I love you how you are. That's the biggest liberation. You will have to taste it one day. Because if you don't, you're going to be affected by any and everything you see. You're going to compare and compete with everyone. And guess what? A lot of those you're competing with, they don't even have what they're showing you they have. So most of the guys are photoshopped, or they're not as wealthy as you think they are. And here you are trying to compete with someone who doesn't really exist. So to be grounded is something that you're going to have to learn. It's very difficult, because how can I convince people who are so, I know maybe the word enslaved is heavy, but to use that word just for the sake of understanding it, by everything that they see. We surely need to be a little bit more independent. I love myself, let people follow me. I remember one of my family members, a girl, came to me and told me, I want to do this and this and this, some negative stuff because all my friends are doing it. And I said, no, have you ever thought if you don't do it, they might follow you one day? 2 years later, she came to me and said, all my friends are on my side. So it's you. You need to be a leader rather than just being led for everything.
Absolutely. I saved the last 3 or 4 questions, the hardest 3 or 4 questions for the end. So here we go. Doubt is something many of us struggle with, imposter syndrome and the like. I've suffered with that for the longest time. Is doubt a weakness in faith, or is it actually a doorway to deeper belief?
Okay, there are 2 types of doubt here. One is to doubt faith, right? And one is to doubt the actions you're doing, like acts of worship and so much more. So firstly, to deal with the doubt of faith itself, I think the more you educate yourself and the more you learn, you need to learn with a touch of an understanding of the mercy of Allah. He doesn't need you and I, He doesn't need my worship or yours. If He's asked us to do something, it's more for our benefit. And the benefits are so humongous. So the more you learn and the more you understand and you've educated yourself, it won't affect you what people are saying. There is access to everything. So when I start seeing people bombarding me or bombarding something that I firmly believe, the fact that I know this is a fact and I'm educated about it, it doesn't really affect me to the degree that it would affect someone else. And if you come to the doubts of day-to-day acts of worship, as a Muslim, I've got to pray, I've got to wash myself in a certain way, you have to understand we are human and we are imperfect. If you're trying to achieve perfection in an imperfect world, you're not going to manage. We aim at perfection in order to do the best we can, but we're never going to get there. Perfection is for paradise, but perfection is for the Almighty. In the process, I'm going to falter, I'm a human, I make mistakes, I sin, I should get up, have hope in the mercy of Allah, I may sin again, I get up again, I have hope in the mercy of Allah again. When I do my act of worship, I say, oh Allah, as much as I didn't have so much of concentration in this prayer, I know you're going to accept it from me because I tried. So the winning sentence is, did you try your best? If you did, keep moving, inshallah.
I love that. Education, repetition, results, and with the results, you will have less doubt.
Yes.
Beautiful. Really well put. Thank you. As science answers more questions once addressed by religion, the perceived need for faith has declined for some. If science were to explain everything, what place would religion and faith still have? It's a tricky one, I know.
Science still does not answer everything. The question I have, or should I say the statement is, over the years, and obviously from the beginning of the human species, which might have been how many thousands or millions of years back to now, when have they discovered all these things? Is it not just very recently? Very recently? So what happened to everybody back there, you see? And where we are, who said that we know everything? Do we have a guarantee that there is no one else going to come showing us much more? So the fact that technology and science is advancing should not make us think that we've arrived at the end result yet. Faith will always play a role, because something as simple as your sleep, your dreaming, the afterlife, so many things, there are so many explanations. People are still getting into it. And it's still coming. So there is much more that science is going to have to come with, and it will. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the end. You see, with a scientific discovery, there is a discovery they might have a little bit later that will negate this one, so they delete it and keep going. But with faith, if it is something revealed that we believe, especially like I'm talking as a Muslim, in the Quran, it will always be the end result. If not now, it's going to come later, and it's going to be proven. You're going to see it. It has happened so much. I mean, it's not our time to discuss that, but if you want to research, you will find so many things that the Quran said that are now being discovered. And so it will still come. More and more will come. But like you said, it is a tough one. Yes.
I remember one recently. The ayah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, وَالشَّمْسُ تَجْرِي لِمُسْتَقَرٍ لَهَا. So science has found that the sun isn't stationary.
Yes.
It's moving, and the planets are lapping around it.
Correct. And they didn't know that some time back.
It was a recent scientific discovery.
Yes, it's been there for a while. But you're right, because that's just one example. But there are so many deeper examples of discoveries that are happening that are proving that, you know what, Revelation was right all along. So it will always have a place. May Allah make it easy. And I think when you are a person who's deep in faith, you're enriched in a unique way. You need to be there to taste it. And I do know there are some who might have been in the faith and then they've left and so on, or they're doubting. You know what? Each one has his own understanding. And sometimes there are things that have happened in your life that got you to where you are. So just keep swimming. Just keep asking. Just keep trying to find out until you're satisfied. If you're not satisfied, it's okay. Keep finding, keep researching, keep asking, keep looking, and you will find the right people, say the right things, and it will help you, it will shape you. Allah Almighty is not going to punish you because your understanding didn't really get to a certain point. Each one has a different level of understanding and circumstances. So I shouldn't play the role of God Almighty and decide, you're going to hell, you're going to heaven. I don't know that. He knows it. But what I could do is to guide you to the best of my ability. You may never be convinced by what I'm saying. If that's your capacity and this is mine, do you really think the one who made both of us unique is going to punish either of us? I don't think so.
SubhanAllah. If there is one daily practice that helps a person remain grounded, regardless of how chaotic life becomes, what should that practice be and why?
For me, it's the 5 daily prayers. Like if I pray, it keeps me grounded. If I pray and I'm focused on the timing, it does something to me that's just so peaceful and so reassuring, and it brings me, a lot of focus. And it actually times my whole day, because I have to get up at a certain time, so I have to sleep at a certain time. It improves my health, and it does so much for me. So I think if I could invite someone to do something to help them in this regard, I would tell them, try out these 5 daily prayers. Take it a little bit seriously and see what it does for you in a short space of time. And then we see and we study it, and inshallah they won't regret.
I saw on Instagram recently where this health coach was saying how you should get into this position a few times a day, which is putting your knees on the ground and your head on the floor. And I was thinking, we've been doing this for 1,400 years, 5 times a day, which is called sujood, to get the body stretching in the position that it should be, to get the blood to the head. There's a lot of things happening right now in the health and wellness world, intermittent fasting and fasting, etc., that is kind of telling people to do what we have been told to do for over 1,400 years. Have you noticed?
Yes, and we took it for granted. You know how when the doctor says something, suddenly it's the doctor who said it, but when the Sheikh says something, it's like, he's a fanatic, just leave him, So if you noticed how I actually said, consider praying. A few years ago, I would have said, you have to pray.
It's all in the messaging. This is a closing staple of my question in my podcast, but I'm gonna send it your way. Sheikh, what would you like to be remembered for?
That's a tough one. Firstly, crossing the bridge of whether I will be remembered or not, I just hope it's something positive, at least for a few years, because after a few years, nobody's going to know I existed. I don't think so. If you look at how many people you know, even from your own forefathers, we don't know them, we don't even know what they look like because technology wasn't that advanced. So I think in a few years' time, they probably would forget you. But for those few years, at least a good thing, something good. Because I do know, watching the world, sometimes a person who was considered good in their surroundings, a few generations down, people might go back to that and say, no, they were actually bad. But they were loved by those around them, There are so many examples of that. So, inshallah, something good, I always believe to be remembered is not so important. What's more important is, where will I be at that particular time? That's of far greater importance. And to work towards that is the whole aim of why we're here today. to try and inculcate positivity in the people. If you ask me, why am I here? I'm here to learn from positive people, even though they are from totally different backgrounds, but they've achieved. And you know, we can exchange notes, we can do so much of goodness. And guess what? I'd like to contribute a little bit. I know I might be a little bit different in so many ways, but there will be something positive that will come out of something I say that would have benefited you as well. And if we don't have that attitude, then we don't know why we're on earth all together at the same time. I'm here today, we're all here today, and guess what? There has to have been a reason why we're here.
Do you think of the afterlife and your mortality often?
Every day, and I have a very positive outlook of what the afterlife is going to be. I really believe the Lord that we're going back to is the most kind, the most generous, the most merciful, the most loving, the most compassionate, and I've said it all the time. And for me to go back to Him, it's going to be the most amazing, awesome day ever. And I think for us, you know, for us to actually have a negative thought of the Almighty goes against the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where he says that the Almighty Himself says, I will treat you the way you perceive me. أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي. I treat you the way you perceive me. Hey, come on, perceive your Lord as the most merciful. We are going through so many struggles on earth. I know the minute we go back to Allah, the struggles are over, inshallah, inshallah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sheikh Mufti Menk, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mufti Menk and Mo Islam, for that insightful conversation. I now believe that whenever you get lost into content, social media, it gets all too much. It's always nice to have a place to go back to. It's always nice to have that faith.
Yes, absolutely. Faith is so important to me. I mean, we've had multiple conversations about my faith, even how integrating my own faith into content, you know, and being able to share that with the audience that I have built has been, you know, a huge honor for me to be part of.
Did you ever have a moment where it all got too much when it comes to social media or your business or something like that, where you came back to faith and that empowered you to keep going, and that's where you kind of found your ground?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Social media is so crazy, especially when you're showing up day in and day out. You're putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable, especially as you're storytelling, right? And you're letting people in different ways, and you're opening yourself up to criticism or negativity or other people's opinions. And so when it gets really crazy, and honestly, even just on the daily, it's my faith, my belief that grounds me and keeps me settled, right? Exactly. And not getting caught up in everything that's going around me, but really coming back to that, to those integral morals and the values that I have to make sure that, you know, I'm not getting sidetracked with things that really don't matter at the end of the day, because what matters truly is what we've heard a lot about here, which is legacy.
Exactly.
And we have an opportunity to build a legacy through how we show up online.
And I feel like it's always that idea when everyone around you, when I usually say when humans become too much, you want a higher power, you want God to be there with you, and that's when you feel like, okay, now I can come back, reset, I feel strong, yes. I can talk to someone other than a friend because this is not helping me right now. So having that faith and ground makes a huge change in your life.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, yeah, you come back to the center, what the integral piece is, which is God, and, you know, believing that you're here for a bigger reason, you're here for bigger than yourself. So it's really exciting, and we're now ready to dive into a next section, which is exciting.
Fireside chat. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now without
hope you enjoyed our little panel.
Dive right in.
Let's do it. Now, for a quick show of hands, who believes the most powerful content is the kind that reflects our real identity and real stories?
Our next speaker is a filmmaker passionate about telling the untold stories of people across the Arab world and using his camera as a bridge between cultures.
His work has reached over 500 million views across platforms.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Abrz. Please welcome him to the stage.
كنت أحب فتاة اسمها جنان، حاربت بغداد كلها عشان وما همني أموت وأن أقتل من أجله. إذا كان نزار قباني بلقيس بالنسبة له هي كل النساء، أنا كان الجنان بالنسبة لي هي العالم كله. انتهت بهروبي من ذلك الحب خوفا من أن أقتل، ولكني أعتقد بأني قتلت مرتين. الهروب من الموت هو موت آخر. ما تندم على شيء حيث لا ينفع الندم، لا ينفع. لزيت زيت أصبحت ذكريات يعني. ثمنتاش 4/2010 فقط يعني أجمل أنثى زوجة على وجه الأرض. أنا شبهت زوجتي الحلوة جدا جميلة جدا، شبهتها بزهرة اللوتس. يمكن لزهرة اللوتس الذهبية أن تنزرع حتى داخل القبر. ما نزع لأن رحلت من الدنيا، رحلت 31 سنة، بس يعني كانت محبتي إلها كبير. يعني أنت ما تتصور لما من 2010 إلى اليوم لما بقعد مع حالي بغني إشي مخيف، يعني بأبكي صراحة. ونسيت إني في يوم بكيت وداعا هيا حبيبتي زوجتي.
ثانك يو. مرحبا، يعطيكم العافية. أنا مهند أبو رزق. من أول ما قررت أبلش صناعة أفلام كصناعة محتوى وأنا في بالي كيف ممكن فيلم يكون فيلم مجتمعي، يكون عم بيأثر بشكل إيجابي على الناس اللي بتشارك فيه، على الناس اللي عم تحضره، على الصانع نفسه. فقلت خليني أبلش أحكي قصتنا. شوي شوي لاحظت إنه بتعرف يمكن مو ضروري إنك تحكيها، يكفي إنك تسمعها وهي لحالها راح تنهكى. هون قلت خليني أنزل على الشارع وألتقي في ناس ما بعرفها ولا بتعرفني، أسألهم عن حياتهم، عن أصعب اللحظات اللي عاشوها وأجملها، وأسمع منهم. يعني في الأول قلت بتعرف هدول هم أبطال هذه القصة، قصتهم هم، فخلينا نسمعها بلهجتهم، بلسانهم، بتعابيرهم، بملامحهم. ردود الفعل الأولى كانت إنه صعب خاصة في عالمنا العربي. الناس يمكن مش متعودة إنها تحكي وتعبر عن مشاعرها، فما تتوقع إنهم يتفاعلوا ولا حيكونوا مهتمين. طبعا ما احتجت أكثر من أول يوم تصوير حتى أكتشف إنه بالعكس، إحنا محتاجين نحكي ونعبر، مهتمين جدا. والكلمة الأدق إنه إحنا محتاجين. يكفي إنك تسأل السؤال الصح وتكون فعلا مهتم تسمعني، فرح تلاقيني بحكي وبعبر. ما بنسى في واحدة من أول النزلات على منطقة وسط البلد عندنا في الأردن، نزلنا لقينا سيدة قاعدة لحالها في مكان ما في وسط البلد على الدرج، وقعدت جنبها قعدت أحكي لها يا أمي حابين نعمل معاكي لقاء وأسألك عن حياتك وأتعرف على قصتك. فقالت بتعرف أنا يعني مش حابة أصور بس عجبتني الفكرة وحابة أحكي معاكم، فشو رأيكم يعني نعمل الجلسة هاي بعيدا عن الكاميرا؟ قلت لها ما عندنا مشكلة. حطينا الكاميرا على جنب وبلشت أحكي معاها وأسألها هاي الأسئلة، يعني شو أجمل لحظات حياتك، أصعبها، كيف تتخطيها. في نص الحديث لقيتها قاعدة بتبكي، وفي نهايته قالت لي بتعرف شكرا أنا كنت محتاجة هاي اللحظات. هون عرفت قديش مهم إنه إحنا نسمع قصص بعض سواء كصناعة محتوى أو بعيدا عنها. في اللحظة اللي أشعر فيها إني مسموع ومرئي هي هاي اللحظة التي أشعر فيها بوجودي. لما أكون مسموع ومرئي من عيلتي، من مجتمعي، من الناس اللي حوالي، فما بالك لو كنت مسموع ومرئي من ملايين الناس. مع الوقت
لقيت حالي برضو عم بتعلم أكثر من هذا المحتوى. قديش في قضايا صارت تظهر على السطح بشكل تلقائي وعفوي بمجرد ما انك قاعد عم تسمع في قصة الناس، بمجرد ما انك قاعد عم تعكس حالتهم. واحدة من القضايا اللي بتابعوا هذه السلسلة بيكونوا شافوها هي الصحة النفسية. الصحة النفسية كانت من القضايا اللي احنا ما حاولنا نسلط عليها الضوء، بس بشكل تلقائي بلشت تظهر على السطح. حتى المتابعين والمشاهدين صاروا يتشاركوا في هذه القصص ويحكوا هم كمان انه بتعرف انت مش لحالك. تخيل في لحظة تشعر انه في ناس بتشبهك بتعاني زي ما انت بتعاني، وحتى لحظاتها الجميلة بتشبه لحظاتك الجميلة اللي ممكن انت ما كنت مركز فيها وشايفها. فكان اكثر التعليقات الايجابية هي انه انت مش لحالك. كل هذا خلى المحتوى يكمل ويوصل أكثر. صورنا في الأردن، في مصر، في لبنان، في السعودية، في العراق، في الإمارات، حتى من غزة تشرفنا إنه إحنا سمعنا من قصصهم، وصرنا نشوف قديش ممكن من قصة إنسان واحد تعكس ثقافة مكان كامل. هون صار ممكن نشوف عاداتهم، تقاليدهم، طيبتهم، ظروف حياتهم، أصعب لحظاتهم، أجملها، كيف بتخطوا هاي اللحظات، كلها من قصة إنسان واحد. هلا أنا متأكد هون في كثير صناع محتوى أو حتى صناع محتوى إن شاء الله قادمين بقوة بيتساءلوا ماذا عن الخوارزميات، قديش ممكن تدعم هاي النوعية من المحتويات. اللي بدي أحكي لكم إياه أجمل ما في هذا المحتوى هو إنه تايمليس evergreen، أو اللي بيحكوا عنه محتوى أخضر، غير مرتبط بحدث زمني ما ولا بحدث مكاني ما. فقد ما ممكن هذا المحتوى ينتشر في فترة زمنية حتلاقيه عم بنتشر في فترات زمنية مختلفة. فيديوهات ممكن تكون نازلة من 5 سنين عم بتجيب ملايين المشاهدات، ترجع تنزل اليوم برضو عم بتجيب نفس ملايين المشاهدات، لأنه الناس مش رابطيتها في حدث زمني محدد. فبالتأكيد من ناحية خوارزميات هذه المحتويات بالعكس هي تدعمها وبتخليها توصل أكثر. طب من ناحية خلف الكواليس كيف ممكن أن أخرج شعوراً من هدول الناس؟ بكل الحالات المحتوى هون بخلي الفائز الأول والأخير هي الشخصية اللي أنت قاعد بتلتقي فيها وبتسمع قصتها. شو ما أنت قاعد بتعمل لازم إنك تهيئ الظروف المناسبة لهاي الشخصية إنها تكون مرتاحة وتبعد عنها الرهبة. بالنهاية إحنا عم نحكي مع ناس في الشارع، ناس مش ماخذة على الكاميرات، مهم إنك تقلل رهبة هاي اللحظة. فلذلك حتى بتعابيرك وإنت قاعد بتحكي معاهم لازم تقلل هذه الرهبة بنظراتك، بجلستك، حتى في زوايا التصوير ومعدات التصوير. معدات التصوير مثلا بهذه الحالة كانت دائما أحاول إنها تكون صغيرة، الكاميرات تكون صغيرة، مايكات مستحيل مثلا في لحظة ما إني أشبك نيك مايك على شخصية، بحاول يكون النيك مايك هذا شيء إحنا بعاد عنه. أفصل المعدات عن الشخصيات لأنه هدول ناس ما بدها تكون أمام كاميرات. لازم في هذه اللحظات أنت تعتبر مش مصور، أنت تعتبر صديق. وأكثر إذا أنت قدرت تخلي هاي الشخصيات اللي أنت قاعد بتحكي معها تشعر وكأنها قاعدة مع حالها، أنت بتكون لسه كسبت أكثر وأكثر من أنك ريحتهم وبعدت عنهم ظروف التصوير الصعبة. واحد من الأمثلة على هذا الموضوع كانت اللقطة الأولى اللي حطيناها اللي هي قصة جنان. هذا الرجل مثلا احنا صورناه في ظروف تصوير صعبة، يعني كانت إضاءة ليلية والإضاءة مو مساعدة، ولكن قصته هون هي الفائز الأول والأخير. فتذكر قديش مهم في صناعة هاي المحتويات إنه القصة هي اللي تفوز. حتى من ناحية مونتاج، المونتاج هون برضو مختلف. لو عم تبحثوا عن طرق مونتاج لمحتوى تقليدي فبالتأكيد الصمت والضجيج هي عناصر أنت حتحاول إنك تشيلهم وتقصهم. أما هون الصمت والضجيج لهم معنى مختلف. الصمت اللي أنت بتشوفه في نظرات الإنسان في بداية سماعه لسؤالك، هذا الصمت له معنى. النظرات اللي بتشوفها في نهايات إجابته، هاي نظرات إلها معنى وهي جزء من الجواب، ما بزبط إنك تشيلها. حتى الضجيج هون له معنى مختلف. الضجيج ممكن كمان إنك تزيله في ظروف مونتاج مختلفة لمحتوى مختلف تماما. أما هون مهم إنك تتركه إذا كان عم بيساعد في رواية القصة. واحد من الأمثلة اللي كثير بحبها عن موضوع الضجيج، هو كان واحد من الناس اللي التقينا فيهم في لبنان، هو كان عم جميل، وإحنا عم نصور فيه أجته مكالمة، بالرغم من إنه كان قاعد عم بيحكي عن مشاعر كثير جميلة من كلمات حكت له إياها والدته. فبحب إني أسمعكم هاي المكالمة.
في كلام الوالدة، الله يرضى عليك وبتكمش التراب بيصير ذهب، قال ما بنساهم. ايه اهلا وسهلا فيك. ايه كيف؟ لا يفلي لا يفلي لا ما في. الرابع ايه اهلا. كلام الوالدة بضلوا هذا ما بينمحى.
هون حتى الضجيج صار له معنى. المكالمة اللي أجته في نص التصوير أنت لو في ظرف مونتاج مختلف كان راح تشيلها، بس هون إلها معنى مهم في سياق فهم أشمل وأكبر لقصة هذا الإنسان. طيب من ناحية تعاون ورعاية، شو نظرة هاي المحتويات لهاي التفاصيل؟ بالأخير أي صانع محتوى موجود اليوم هون هو يسعى إنه يصنع محتوى سستينبل مستمر بذاته، يقدر يطوره ويستثمر فيه أكثر وأكثر. بس اللي بدي أحكي لكم إياه إنه في تفصيلة مهمة في هاي النوعية من المحتويات، إنه شو ما صار من تعاونات ورعاية مهم جدا ألا نخسر الأوثنتيسيتي وأصالة هذا المحتوى، الشيء اللي عم بيخليه حقيقي، اللي عم بلامس الناس. هاي التفاصيل هي اللي عم بتخلي هاي المحتويات تكمل وعم بتأثر أكثر. فشو ما عملت من تفاصيل ممكن تكون تعتبر البزنس سايد اوف صناعة المحتوى، مهم جدا انك تحافظ على هاي الأصالة. وبالأخير بدي أحكي لكم ليش من وجهة نظري مهم نصنع محتويات أكثر بهذا الشكل. للأمانة إحنا قد ما عم نكون إما مستهلكين أو صناع لمنصات التواصل الاجتماعي، قاعدين بنشوف كم من المحتويات اللي عم بتفرجينا أجمل ما في حياة الآخرين، وأحسن لحظاتهم، أكبر إنجازاتهم، وأقوى لحظاتهم. صرت تشعر إنك أنت متأخر شو ما عملت. هون أنت عم بتشوف إنه الناس كاملة وأنت الوحيد اللي فيك هذا النقص الإنساني اللي المفروض الكل عنده إياه. اللي بدي أحكي لكم إنه بالآخر في هذه النوعية من المحتويات إحنا قاعدين عم نشوف الإنسان في أجمل لحظاته، ولكن أيضا في أصعبها، لحظات الأمل ولحظات الألم، وكيف قاعد بيتخطى هذه اللحظات. فبنشعر إنه إحنا ارتحنا ولو شوي، قديش في ناس بتشبهنا وإنه إحنا جميعنا غير كاملين. والسر الأعظم في الشعور اللي ممكن يوصلك من هاي النوعية من المحتويات مش في الشخص اللي أنت شفته، هو في نفسك اللي شفتها في هذا الشخص. شكرا. شكرا.
Thank you, Muhammad, أبرز. That was